This is case number 156 on the calendar in the matter of Niemeyer versus Petrie Carpenter. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated.
Mr. and Mrs. Niemeyer, these folks were friends of yours.
Were.
And then, sometime several months ago, according to your complaint, you had a falling out over $100.
Yeah.
And you claim as a result of this falling out that the defendants damaged your car, assaulted you, you want damages. The defendants say that you became an aggressor over this $100, and you, in fact, assaulted them, and they are counterclaiming. So first, why don't you tell me what happened on this day? Well, was it in April?
I went to a customer's house. I was running a side business.
What kind of business?
Computer work, building computers, setting up networks. I was having a problem with satellite, so I called Chris out. He went to our apartment and took my wife's car from there, left his wife there.
Okay, these are details that I really don't think I need, because I've read your complaint, and your complaint says that you gave him $100 for his day's work in helping you.
Yes.
And he gave you the $100?
Yeah, he gave me the $100.
Go ahead.
His wife was asleep when we got back. She was pregnant, so I went to sleep on the couch.
Mr. Niemeyer, listen to me carefully, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? Because I have other things to do tonight.
I understand. Sorry.
You gave him the $100. According to you, they slept at your house.
Yes.
And the next morning, the $100 was missing. Is that right?
Right, my stuff had been rummaged through.
That's not true.
Yeah.
Shh. The $100 was missing, and they believed that either you or your wife took the $100.
Which we didn't.
So pick up from that point.
Okay. Basically, he woke up and somehow his stuff was scattered out through my house. It's like he had been through my house and looking for stuff to steal or something. I don't understand it. I don't understand how stuff gets his stuff that was in his pockets when I went to bed is scattered out throughout my house, and he's looking in my car and everything.
I want to know how it
my
got
MP3 player was missing.
Listen to me.
My laptop was missing.
Listen to me. None of those things, Mr. Niemeyer, are contained. Listen to me.
I'm listening.
Are contained in your complaint that your things were missing. So I don't want to hear it. He woke up, his $100 is missing. He asks you about it. Your wife says, I'll look for it. They leave. Sometime later that day, they either came or called. Which was it?
Well, early, when they were leaving, we got in a big argument. She was saying, I'm going to kick your butt.
Oh, you mean there was a dispute before they left in the morning?
Before they even left. They were accusing me of stealing. You know, it's like I just paid him $100. And
yeah, why would you take it back if you just paid him? That's ridiculous.
Yes. I don't understand it. So he called back later and he said, hey, y'all, he had Brandy call back later and talk to Jennifer. She said
Just a second.
Okay.
His wife called back and spoke to you?
Yes, ma'am.
What did she say to you, and what did you say to her?
She told me that I needed to have my husband give her man back the $100.
And what did you say to her?
I told her that I would talk to him, but it was between them. I knew that my husband hadn't taken the money. We looked all over the house. Chris had lost it.
Did they come back to the house?
Yes, they did.
What time?
10:30
10:30
p.m.
Had they called first to tell you that they were coming?
Basically, at that point, Chris had called me back and said, what's your gate code?
Gate code?
Yeah, it's getting our apartments. I said, Chris, you just need to turn around and leave. You know, I don't want to get kicked out of my apartment. Then, at that moment, I knew, knowing Chris for so long, I needed to go out there and look. Well, I went out there and looked. He had driven around in the exit gate when somebody had left.
So he was in your apartment complex?
Yes, ma'am. So at that point, I ran back upstairs. I called Craig and said, look, dude, I don't know what's going on.
Why did you call Craig?
Huh? Well, I didn't know what to do. You know,
Who's Craig?
Huh? This, my lady.
Well, I know. I see Craig sitting over there. I mean, what is he?
He's just a neighbor, basically.
He lives in the same complex?
Yes. I just wanted somebody to be able to see what was going on.
You didn't call the police?
At that moment, we thought we could talk things out and that things wouldn't escalate to that point. I went outside and tried to talk to them.
What did you say to them?
Brandy was really polite to me. I told her that if they were coming to start stuff, they couldn't do it there. We have 2 children. We have a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old that don't need to be around that. And they didn't leave when I asked them to leave.
And?
At that moment, I went down there to talk to Chris. By the time I got out there and I noticed that it was just a screaming and holler match, I started to come back. Well, at that point, Chris started pushing me. Give me my money, or I'm going to punch your face in.
Never pushed you.
It's not a police report, Chris.
He pushed me all the way back up to my apartment.
Let me ask you this question.
Excuse me, Judge.
Shh. Chris, you weren't the only 4 people in the house.
They're 2 kids.
They're 2 kids.
Right. There were 2 toddlers, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, would you give me a reason why this friend of yours, who you've known since you were children, who called you to come for a day's work, who took out the money to pay you, would then, while you were sleeping, rummage through your things and steal the $100 that he had just given you. It doesn't make sense. Now, is it possible that one of the two toddlers was going around the house and while you were all sleeping and rummaging through your stuff and his stuff and sort of scattered everything all over the place? Is that possible?
It's possible.
And then the money would have been gone. Is that possible?
She would have found it when she was cleaning.
Not necessarily. What if the toddler took your $100 and flushed it down the toilet? Would she have found it?
No.
Now, tell me in your own words, what happened when they came back at 10:30 at night?
Well, he started pushing me, and so I walked upstairs. I was trying to go back in the house. I was going to get Jennifer to call the police. At that moment, I turned around, and he's still right there, and he's trying to get in my house. So I pushed him back out of my front doorstep, because I wasn't going to let him in my house. At that moment, Brandy come walking upstairs.
You pushed by me
This
and
is
hit me in the
Brandy.
stomach
Anyway,
when I was pregnant.
when I pushed...
Don't speak.
When I pushed Chris back, pushed him like that to get him out of my doorstep, at that moment, Chris said, "You hit me." Turned around and swung. He hit me across the side of my head. Brandy came over the top of him, and their third little guy, whoever he was, I don't know who he was, came running upstairs, and they all three commenced to hit me on my balcony. At that moment, I slid out, and Jennifer comes running out.
I heard noises. I came outside. All three of them were on top of him. My first thought was, get Brandy off. She's 7 months pregnant, and I even told her, I said, look, you want to beat him up? Beat him up. Wait till you're done being pregnant. I said, that's between y'all, but not
After
when
he
you're
hit
pregnant.
me in the stomach, I was defending myself.
Sure, she was
Listen
on
to
top of
me.
him.
Listen to me. Big mouth. Big stupid mouth. When you're 7 months pregnant, you don't go back to a house where there has been an altercation in the morning when you know it's very possible that there's going to be another altercation. You stay home. You get it? And if you put yourself in the middle of a fight and then say, oh, don't touch me, I'm 7 months pregnant. If you're 7 months pregnant, you use your brains if you can find them and stay home.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Chris brings his fist up and punches Josh.
He had hit her in the stomach, and she's pregnant.
Got in my face, and I pushed his face back out of mine.
You and your wife were having a very bad day, period.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Joshua and Jennifer Niemeyer claim former friends Chris Petrie and girlfriend Brandy Carpenter caused them to be evicted and broke the rear window of their car. The Niemeyers claim the incident started over a missing $100.
Come on, let's go.
At the point when I pulled Brandy off, the other guy had gotten off too, and it was just Chris and Josh, and they ran down the stairs fighting. And Josh yelled at me, just go grab $100, give him $100, make him leave. So I went, got the $100, went to hand it to Chris. Chris said, he's going to hand it to me. So I handed the money to Josh. Josh
Just a
hands the
second.
money to Chris.
So he said, he's going to
Yes.
hand it to me. Another idiot. Yeah, go ahead.
So Josh hands the money to Chris. As he's handing the money to Chris, I'm standing there, and Chris brings his fist up and punches Josh, and then says, don't hit me. Josh at never one point hit him. He was handing him $100.
Then what happened?
I lost it. I threw the money at him in his face and I was like, Jennifer, I got to get out of here. You know, I'm on probation. I'm not trying, I've straightened my life
For
out.
what?
Excuse me?
Possession of a controlled substance.
Yes, I'm on probation. I've straightened my life out. You know, I just need to get out of here.
So he left.
So you went to leave. Now, when he went to leave in his car, you chased him, according to your answer. Now, he's leaving.
To get the license plate number, so 'cause she was running down to call the police because he had hit her in the stomach and she's pregnant. I never touched
What?
him.
Let me ask you this question.
He just came out swinging and hit her in the stomach.
Listen to me. Why were you there at 10:30 at night?
To talk to him about the money. 'Cause
No, you went to his house to confront him about the money. And you had already had an altercation with him in the morning. And if you were going to go over there to have a confrontation with him, why did you go over there angry, which you were,
I
and
wasn't
bring...
angry when I went.
Oh, yes, you were, sir. That's why you went there. And who did you bring with you?
I brought her with me.
Who else?
And my witness,
You brought a friend with you. Why did you bring the friend with you?
because I was taking him home because we were out together.
Out where?
Ma'am,
Out where?
Out at her brother's house.
Doing what?
See my nephew?
Yeah.
You know, I don't believe anything that you tell me. I think you're a troublemaker. And not a very smart troublemaker, because for somebody who's going to have a baby, you have to be a little more protective of an innocent than placing yourself in a situation that you know is potentially trouble. You understand each other?
Yes.
Good. You did, sir, a very foolish thing. Not only did you go back for a little more trouble and bring a friend with you,
He just happened to be in the car with us.
he got out of the car, didn't he?
When we first pulled up and I went to talk to Josh, he stayed in the vehicle.
Chris, is there a gate at their complex?
Yes.
Was the gate open when you got there?
The gate is usually
it's
open.
not open.
The gate
No,
is
I didn't
almost
ask you if
always-
it's... Listen, you follow me.
Okay.
I didn't ask you whether the gate is usually open. I said, was the gate open on the evening of the 25th of April when you got there?
Yes.
Obviously not. You
No. You're fibbing to me.
Do you have
You're
phone
fibbing.
records?
Just a second. You're fibbing to me.
Okay. The gate was open.
The front gate was not open.
You can believe what you want. I mean,
Okay, so after you ran out to your car and Chris followed you out to your car, I want you to describe what happened.
I know the way Chris is and what he
Don't tell me what you know. Just tell me what happened.
I turned around and looked, and I saw Brandy and the other guy. They were going back to their car. I didn't see Chris at that moment, and so I had put the car in reverse, had just let off the brake, and all of a sudden I hear, thunk, hit and run. I turned around and flipped him off.
He jumped on his windshield and then yelled, hit and run, got
To the
up.
police report that he hit him.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you?
Anyway, at that moment, I'm so fed up with all this crap that's going on. I didn't let him in the apartments. I told him to go away. I just, turned around, flipped him off, and said, Chris, whatever. I know your games. And at that moment, Chris is standing in front of my car. I let off the brake, not with the gas on, but where the car just slowly rolls to push him out of the way. Because,
Did you
all
ultimately
they were
leave?
there, all they were there.
Sir, listen to me carefully. Did you ultimately leave?
After he had jumped through my windshield, yes.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Joshua and Jennifer Niemeyer say former friends Chris Petrie and Brandy Carpenter owe for causing them to be evicted and for vandalizing their vehicle.
Would you step up, sir, please? Step up. Tell me your name.
My name's Craig Majors.
Mr. Majors, take your hands out of your pockets.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you a witness to any of this?
What I saw is very little, actually. I mean, whenever I was coming back from getting laundry, all I heard was a thump and some screaming.
So you didn't see anything?
Oh, yeah, I saw. Yes,
well, then
I did.
I want you to tell me what you saw, sir.
Okay, what I saw was him backing away from his car and some yelling going on.
And?
Well, Josh tried to proceed forward, and whenever he did so, it kind of looks like he did just a back dive or a back buster on his window. And I didn't see if it broke the window or anything, but I did hear the loud, crash. Not actually broken glass, but maybe the hood.
Okay, good. And that's
All
all
I
you
can
saw?
see is him run and jump on the front of his
Okay.
car, and
That's
that was
what you
it.
saw.
He did not get hit like somebody getting hit at 50 miles an hour.
Good. Have a seat.
Thank you.
Now, you have a police report?
Yes, ma'am.
We actually have 3. They were really
Can I see
busy
it,
that
please?
weekend, and these are all 3 from the same weekend, different occurrences.
One of those is right before us.
Who's Tony? Who's Tony?
I believe that was
That was right before our house.
at a gas station. She assaulted him.
She assaulted another
Do you
guy.
know who Tony Gonzalez is, madam?
Yes.
So how come you didn't answer me?
Well, I didn't know the guy's name.
Well, now I'm telling you. You were arrested with regard to an incident.
I was never arrested.
On 425, well, this says arrested person, information number 1. Date arrested, 42504. Person arrested, Brandy. That's you?
Yes, but I was
Okay.
never arrested.
And the complainant was one Tony Gonzalez. Now tell me about that. That's on the same date as this incident.
Right. We were at a gas station, and he almost hit my car, and whenever he was pulling in the other side, I was parked this way, he was pulling in on the other side of the pump. And I looked at him like, don't hit my car, and he made comments of me being a white, and da-da-da-da, whatever, and we exchanged words. Well, I got out of the car, and he got in my face, and I pushed his face back out of mine.
What part are you forgetting?
Shh, I don't want to hear you when I'm not speaking to you.
Yes, ma'am.
And the cops came.
This is the same date as this incident, is that right? April 25th.
Yes. It was way later.
Oh.
That happened
So
in the afternoon.
That happened in the
after
afternoon.
the police were involved with this other assault with regard to Tony Gonzalez, who you put your hands on
Yes.
while you were 7 months pregnant. Then you and your husband went back to their house.
Not directly after, but yes, later on that evening.
Later on that evening.
Yes.
Oh, you must have had a really good day on April 25th.
There's also one.
I didn't ask you a question. Okay. The gas station attendant in this incident, Brandy, says, and she doesn't know you, and she doesn't know the victim. This independent witness says that she observed you being the instigator in the incident and stated that she saw you cursing and slapping Mr. Gonzalez.
I never slapped. I pushed him back, his face out of mine, yes.
You told the police that you pushed him in the face.
Yes.
That's not a slap. You pushed him in the face. Interesting girl. You're an interesting girl. All right. And then I have this, and the only one I'm interested in is the independent witness who lives in the complex who says that you ran out after the car and you were screaming at him, "Give me my blank money or I'll smash you in the face." That's just from somebody who didn't even want to be involved.
If you read the paragraph above it, please read the paragraph above it where it's a witness that has no relation to anybody who said that she was walking to her car in the parking lot when she saw suspect one hit complainant.
Oh, I believe that he hit you.
Confiscated vehicle.
I believe that he hit you.
Yes.
I believe that he hit you. I believe it's your fault. When you look for trouble, you're going to find it.
I wasn't looking for trouble.
Oh,
I went
going over
to
there
talk.
at 10:30 at night to a home where there are 2 toddler children is looking for trouble. Earlier that day, you had been in another altercation with them. So you and your wife were having a very bad day, period. Period. And if there was an altercation at his front door and he was trying to leave, which he was, to get away from the police, to get away from you, but he was trying to get away because you say he ran to his car and I followed him. And you told me that you went there just for the purpose of getting his license plate. That's what you swore to about 15 minutes ago. But that's not true because you've known him for a very long time. He's not going to disappear. He's got a wife and 2 children. So your counterclaim is dismissed. If you got injured that day in his car, too bad. And if she got a bellyache in the car because she was there, because he hit her, that's her problem. She and her 7-month fetus should have been home in bed at 10:30 at night. Now, let's get to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Your car was damaged?
Yes.
How much?
We have the receipt right here for...
$180 for the windshield, and then it was $462 to get out of impound.
Okay. I believe that they're responsible for that. I believe that, but for the fact that they came to your house at 10:30 at night looking for trouble, this whole unfortunate incident wouldn't have happened. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $642. That's all.
Case number 123 on the calendar in the matter of Mance versus Leaf. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat, please.
How old are you, Miss Mance?
I'm 19.
How old were you when you met the defendant?
I was 17.
You were in high school?
Yes, I was a senior in high school.
And what was he?
He was the assistant swim coach on my high school swim team.
When did you start to date him romantically?
We started dating maybe 3 days after the season ended. That was in February of 2002.
You were 17?
Yes.
How old are you?
24 at the time.
Married or single?
Single.
Had been married?
No.
Any children?
No.
According to your complaint, he had some trouble making ends meet.
Mm-hmm.
And over the course of your relationship, you loaned him money.
Yes.
Substantial amount of money.
Yes.
Mr. Leith says that, well, he did have some hard times there financially. The money that you gave him was just that gifts. You agreed to help him out. And because he's a good guy, he gave you back $2,400. And he says, according to him, let me quote his answer, he said, "I didn't want to seem as if I was a charity case, so I paid her a total of $2,400 to make her feel better, and I can prove it." That's what you said here.
Yes.
A lie.
Prove. Shh. I'm going to cut to the chase right now.
Okay.
Miss Mance, you have a whole laundry list of money that you lent him over the years. Is that right?
Yes.
You say he gave you back $1,000, but he still owes you about $3,000.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you this. If he can prove to me what he says in his answer, that he paid you back $2,400, if he can prove to me, listen to my question, if he can prove to me that he paid you back $2,400, are you prepared to say, that's fine, that's...
No.
Oh, that's too bad. Prove to me that you paid her back $2,400.
But I don't have any evidence of any kind.
Well, if you don't have any evidence, you see where I'm going?
See where you're going.
See where I'm going?
The only evidence that we have is a title of a car that was signed over from my name to her name, which is a car that I purchased for her.
For $200.
Shh. I purchased the car for $400 from a friend. We signed $200 on the title because it made tax reasons easier. When I put $600 worth of work into it, which her father actually helped me do the work in a friend of his shop, and we had $600 in total parts, including seat covers, wheel covers, and things that I needed to get the engine running properly again, which the car was destroyed a week or so after she started driving it because something that wasn't fixed properly ended up blowing up inside and destroyed the motor. I also gave her $1,400 in cash in total payments, and that was
Show me from the bank from which you drew out.
I paid everything in cash.
Listen to my mouth. Are you a bookie?
No.
You have a job?
Yes.
You have a checking account?
No.
You put money in a bank or under the mattress?
Under the mattress.
You put it under the mattress. You're slick, but I don't believe you. Do you understand?
Yes.
Nobody does that. You put money in a bank, especially $1,400. You would have some evidence that you withdrew $1,400 from a bank. Not necessarily a check. Not everybody has a checking account. But most people who are college educated have a checking account.
Your Honor,
Just
at one point he did have a checking account.
Just a second. Do I look like I need help from you yet?
No.
Who is this?
This is one of my friends. His name is Chip. He's a witness that 2 of the times I did pay her cash, they were $200 each time, so he's a witness to $400 of the money that was paid back.
Good. Perfect. I don't even have to hear him. She says that you paid her back $1,000. You could have had 2 more chips. $2,400, sir. Get there. So far, let us assume that I believe you, which I do not, that we have $400 from Chipper over here. And you have $600 in parts for a car.
Which my father paid
Shut!
for.
Just a second. $2,400, sir. Get there.
I already told you, man. $1,000 in total for the car, and then $1,400 in cash payments made to her.
When?
During the course, it was probably over a course of a year, because she loaned me money when I first got diagnosed with a disease, Crohn's disease. I was out of work for a while, and then when I got back to work, I took a dive off the ladder and had a fractured spine at one point.
You're an accident looking to happen.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't you have family?
No. Well, family, yes. It's my father and my mother and everybody, but...
Well, father and mother usually comprise family. Right, Chip?
I agree, ma'am.
That's where you go if you have the propensity to fall off ladders. You go to your parents. You don't go to your 17-year-old girlfriend.
Well, she was 18 at that time.
Oh, my goodness. Eligible for Social Security, and you were 25. Father?
Yes, ma'am.
Happy with him?
Not really.
Oh, I could tell.
My ex-wife is even less happy, and I had to keep him out of jail. She wanted to put him there.
He was forbidden from entering my mother's house where I was living at the time.
When you were how old?
17.
17, 18.
Is there any particular reason why he was forbidden from entering your house?
I wasn't forbidden from her father's house.
No. I understand that.
My mother was very upset because he was so much older than me, and she found out that I had been giving him money, which upset her even more. And
Where'd you get the money from?
I worked. I have a copy of my W-2 here. I worked full-time during the summertime, and I took a semester off school, and I worked.
She made very good money that year. Unfortunately, she doesn't have it.
Yes.
And I get very few phone calls, if I may interrupt, from my ex-wife. One of them was about this situation after she had heard about it, because it was in the closet for some time. And the words that came out of her mouth were statutory. And that's what she wanted to pursue. And I talked her out of that.
That's hard to do anyway.
Yes,
Because
and
at the
I
time,
didn't
what's
want-
your first name?
Maureen.
Maureen. At the time, Maureen was in love.
Yes.
Or I
I didn't
thought
want to
was.
push them apart, her mother and herself. I figured that,
Smart idea.
that would end up in the
It was
wrong
smart.
direction. Thank you.
Wouldn't have gone anywhere anyway.
No.
You need somebody to testify, right?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
The day that we went to Sausalito, Eric was rubbing my shoulders in front of the guy that we were buying
I don't
product from.
care, and neither does he.
As long as they're not my shoulders.
Well, I don't care about rubbing shoulders. Go someplace else if you want to talk about rubbing shoulders.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Maureen Mance says ex-boyfriend Greg Leith owes for unpaid loans. Maureen says she started dating Greg when he was her high school swim coach, and she was just 17.
Okay, so far you have not convinced me that you gave her $2,400.
The title.
I see you
signed
there
over.
without any evidence.
The only evidence I would have had would have been the title of the car.
Except
which I
Chipper
had
over
signed
here. And Chipper doesn't want to fall in my mouth again, do you, Chipper?
No, ma'am.
I will also say, Your Honor, that she did not loan me nearly the amount, and none of it was supposed to be a loan. She had told me during the course of this relationship that she was helping me out because we were together and because we were in a relationship.
I know.
And it was
that's-
only after we broke up.
Listen to me, sir.
Yes.
A 17-year-old cannot make a contract with you.
None of the money was ever borrowed or any money that she ever spent was until after she had turned 18, so she would have been a legal adult at that time.
Which was only a few months later.
You got it? Do you just love that man? Listen to me. Maureen, really good lesson.
Hard.
Hard
Very
lesson.
hard.
Over the course of 2 years, you gave him a whole lot of money. Now, ordinarily, I would dismiss your lawsuit because you have no evidence of a loan. You loved him. But he says he paid you back. That's his problem. And he can't prove it because he has no evidence. So what he wants me to do is believe a 25-year-old, because at that time he was 25, because you've turned 18, eventually you turned 25,
Right.
that a 25-year-old man took money from an 18-year-old girl, and he wants me to believe that this 25-year-old man had no bank account, no checking account, kept his money under his mattress.
When he had it.
When he had it. So I find that hard to believe, Mr. Lee. Do you understand?
Yes.
Is your Crohn's disease under control?
Yes, it is.
Oh, how wonderful for you. And you're working full-time?
Yes, ma'am.
And you haven't fallen off any ladders lately?
No, ma'am.
Very good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,400, which is the amount you say you paid her back but can't prove. Maureen, be grateful.
I am. Thank you very much.
That's all.
Thank you, Yvonne.
All is excused. You may step out.
In the beginning of our relationship, he wrote me letters telling him how much he loved me and how much he couldn't wait to spend his life with me.
We had both written letters to each other, and I wouldn't consider them to be romantic love letters.
I was young, I was naive, and it was a hard lesson.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Mackey versus Dewey. Step forward.
Spa owner Lee Mackey is suing his former employee, 26-year-old esthetician Melanie Dewey, for the return of money he claims she stole. Melanie says she kept the money because Lee was withholding her pay.
Mr. Mackey, do you own a day spa? Is that what kind of establishment
Yes, ma'am.
that
I'm
you
actually
have?
a partner.
And according to what I read, the defendant did some work at your day spa as an esthetician. She gave facials. What else?
We didn't really get to that point yet, but I was going to be the head esthetician and I was getting ready to open the salon with them.
So you weren't working for them?
I was working for them, but not doing facials yet.
What were you doing?
I was helping them open the day spa, doing like the hiring and the training and ordering the supplies, bringing the supplies.
Okay. According to what I read, Miss Dewey came to you with some sort of a proposition, and that was that she had a friend from whom she could purchase a tanning bed at a very good price, $500. Is that right?
Not technically, ma'am. It's a spray tan machine, and the price was $550. So it was not
A
technically
spray tanning machine?
Yes, ma'am.
You gave her the $550?
Gave her $500 in cash, and then I helped put $150 down for her insurance.
I don't want to know about the insurance. You gave her $500 in cash for the machine?
$650 total, ma'am.
Mr. Mackey, I want you to listen to me, sir. I said you gave her $500 in cash for the machine.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you said, well, I didn't want the machine. You were going to sell it to somebody else. And when you told that to the defendant, she said, well, I'm going to keep the $500.
Yes, ma'am.
And you also claimed that you loaned her $150 for her car insurance?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Miss Dewey says that, in fact, you did give her the $500, you did pay the $150, but you owed her money for some wages, and she's keeping everything. Right?
Correct.
Uh-huh. When were you supposed to open the spa, Mr. Mackey?
Originally it was in June, but we were delayed for construction. We finally opened December 15th.
Of 2003?
Yes, ma'am.
And when did Miss Dewey come to work for you?
I'd have to actually talk to our general manager, Eric. He's actually the one that dealt with hiring her.
When did Miss Dewey come to work for you?
She started helping the spa open, I would say, in early...
You're thinking really hard. The questions get harder here,
September.
sir. What?
September.
September what?
I don't know the exact date.
When in September?
It was the last week of July, actually.
Is that a possibility, sir?
I have her paycheck here that says 11/13/03 for 16 hours that she put in, and $295 of products that she purchased that she was reimbursed for.
11/16/03 is the first paycheck she had?
Yes,
You said she came to work for you in September.
that is correct.
So what happened to September and October?
This is when she was reimbursed for her hours.
Let me see. Okay. So you say you came to work in July.
End of July, last week.
And what did you do for them in July?
They had me look online for products that they would like, talk to them on the phone, ordering supplies, going with them to Sausalito to order supplies.
Well, I want you to take out a list of the hours that you worked.
He was responsible for all those hours. I don't have any of the hours.
You mean you were being paid on an hourly basis and you didn't keep track of how many hours you worked?
He actually was supposed to give me a base salary, which I never had, and a compensation package that he never gave me. He never came through with anything that he said that he would.
Then why did you continue there?
That's why I quit, and that's why I kept the money. It was ridiculous.
Well, you can't do that.
I felt that I could. Maybe
Well, you can't.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Lee Mackey says former employee Melanie Dewey owes for the return of money. Melanie claims it's Lee who owes her.
Okay. What's your first name?
Melanie.
Melanie! Listen to me, dear. If you go to work for somebody in July and you get your first paycheck in November, you're supposed to say,
Too trusting.
Something isn't right here. I worked in July, I worked in August, I worked in September, I worked in October. November 16th, I get a check for $583. Something isn't quite making sense here. Now, when did he give you the $500 for this tanning machine?
It was in September.
August 28th, ma'am. Also, just to talk a little bit about what Melanie is saying about working, we actually weren't even open. We were during construction.
I understand that.
So-
What Melanie is saying is she was helping you set up. And she had to have been there prior to when you say she was there in November, because she made this arrangement to get you a piece of equipment in August.
That's because we were friends.
Mr. Mackey, don't play with me. You may have promised her that she would have a role in the new day spa and that she would be the chief esthetician, but you needed some help in setting up the place, and she was on the phone, and she may have gone to look for some products for you. It's her responsibility to keep track of her own hours, to check against yours. She can't do that. She can't come here with a pretty smile and a great tan and then say to me, this is my evidence. I mean, that doesn't float. So August 28th, Miss Dewey, you got the $500. And when did you decide to keep it for yourself? What date?
Probably around the end of September, when I was still working for them and training all of their estheticians. And then I asked him for my compensation package, and he said that it was a great package, nowhere to be found, but they were going to turn around and sell the machine that I was giving them and make about $1,000 off of it. And at that point I realized I'm not going to get paid, they're making money, and I'm getting totally screwed.
Shh. That was in September?
Correct.
So in September you kept the money?
Correct.
Did you continue to go to work there?
No.
Well, then can you explain this check that was given to you on November 13th for $583 that you cashed?
I guess it was a later time. I don't remember the time frames.
Can I ask you this question, Miss Dewey?
Yes.
What did you do to prepare for your day in court? I mean, other than put on perfect makeup, what did you do?
I've been out of the country. I wasn't prepared.
You certainly are not prepared. What you're supposed to do when you come to court is the judge is going to ask you questions. Then you had to sit down and say, this is when I went to work for them. These are the hours that I put in. This is when I stopped working. This is when I decided to appropriate the $500 for myself because I wasn't getting paid. But if now you tell me that you appropriated the $500 in September, and then 2 months later they pay you $583, something doesn't quite fit. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right, so I can't help you, madam. Now, what about this $150 loan for insurance?
Well, actually, ma'am, $50 was supposed to go towards the machine. The other was a loan because the insurance agent was around the corner from my house, and I do have the canceled check.
Can I see it,
where I
please?
wrote Melanie on the info line because it was not for me. And that was dated 11 November.
Okay. Now, Melanie, State Farm is where you insure your car. Is that correct?
That's where he insured my car, yes.
What do you mean he insured your car?
He was trying to pursue me. He was trying to date me. And that was one of his ways to get me to date him, was to get car insurance for me. So that was something that he did as a gift.
Just a second. Melanie, he was trying to date you. He was trying to pursue you. That adds a new layer to this rather interesting
Actually, both
case.
owners were, actually.
What?
Yeah. The day that we went to go get products in Sausalito, Eric was rubbing my shoulders in front of the guy that we were buying product from.
I don't care, and neither does he. You don't care about rubbing shoulders, do you?
As long as they're not my shoulders.
Yeah. Well, I don't care about rubbing shoulders. All I care about is State Farm insurance for $150. Go someplace else if you want to talk about rubbing shoulders. Now, you allowed him to pay for your insurance, is that right?
Yes, I did.
Why?
Because he said it was a gift and he wanted to do that for me.
I don't believe you. Okay, listen, Melanie, where do you work now, darling?
I work at a day spa.
What do you do in the day spa?
I'm an esthetician.
How many days a week do you work?
4 days.
What do you do on the 5th day?
I take care of my son.
And on 4 days, working 4 days a week, you're able to support yourself and your child?
Yes, I am.
Okay, well, wonderful. So I hope you have the $650 to return to Mr. Mackey. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $650. That's all.
And parties are excused. Yeah, this is case number 91 on the calendar in the matter of Colmenero versus Maddox. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Mrs. Colmenero, you and the defendant used to be married.
Yes.
And you have children together. And it is your claim that your former husband made false claims that you had and continue to abuse the children that you have together. And as a result of one of those claims, you were arrested. You want to be compensated to the tune of $5,000. And Mr. Maddox says that you have a history of child abuse, excessive corporal punishment of the children. He believes that you are still using corporal punishment on the children. And he has every right, and not only the right, but the responsibility as their parent to notify protective services and or the police that his children are at risk. Right?
Yeah, right.
Okay. How long were you married?
5 years.
How many children do you have?
2.
How old are they?
Hayden is 7 and Trevor is 5.
Do you have other children?
Yes, I do.
How old are they?
I have a 13-year-old.
Whose name is?
Is Cody. And a 9-year-old who is Jared.
Those children also live with you?
I do have my son, my 9-year-old lives with me.
Where is Cody?
Cody moved in with his father about 2-3 months ago.
Were any of those 2 children the subjects of child protective proceedings or complaints?
The accusations have been made for all 4 children.
By whom?
By Michael Maddox.
By anyone else?
By my husband. His ex-wife has also made claims.
Well, does your husband have children?
Yes, he does.
How many children does he have?
He has 3 children.
Were there allegations of corporal punishment made by his former wife with regard to his 3 children?
Yes, there has been.
And what were the nature of the complaints that were made by his former wife?
Molestation, different things of that nature.
I'm talking about excessive corporal punishment or corporal punishment. You know what that means?
Okay.
Corporal punishment?
No,
that means hitting excessively or using an instrument to hit.
For Cody, Jared, Hayden, and Trevor, there has been accusations made on all of the children.
To excessive corporal punishment?
Yes.
By Mr. Maddox?
Yes.
And by your husband's former wife?
Yes.
Okay, now we're getting there. When was the allegation made with regard to Trevor and Hayden that caused you to become arrested? Tell me about that incident.
That happened on February 12th.
Okay.
And the children had went to go visit their father that weekend, and later on that night, I had been arrested for abusing my son, my 4-year-old. At the time, he was 4.
Okay, Mr. Maddox, the children were with you for a scheduled weekend visitation?
Yes, they was.
And tell me what happened.
What happened was she used to drop the children off at my sister's house. So when she dropped them off, I came over and I proceeded to pick my children up. I took my sons to my house and I started to change their clothes. I noticed the bruises. Right then I called.
Noticed the bruises where?
On the buttocks. There was 3 places on the buttocks that they had bruises. This has happened.
What did the bruises look like?
They were small bruises, about a 1/4 inch wide, probably maybe an inch or so long, around their butt. So
on both children?
Just one.
Which child?
The youngest one, Trevor.
Did you ask Trevor and or Hayden how that happened?
Yes, I did. They told me their mom spanked them with a paddle.
So who did you call?
I called the police department.
You indicate, Mr. Maddox, that your judgment of divorce, you indicate in your answer, that your judgment of divorce has an unusual paragraph in it with regard to corporal punishment.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that with you?
I sure do.
I'd like to see it, please.
This wasn't the first time that this has happened.
No, let me see it, and then I'll ask you questions. Okay? Well, there is a paragraph in your judgment of divorce that provides that neither party shall allow the use of corporal punishment upon the children. Was that a negotiated term of the separation agreement?
Well, what happened is I had to remodify it because it started happening before this case, and so I had it put in.
Had there been a history of that before, Mr. Maddox?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
What kind of a history, sir?
One time, right when she started dating Rick, she was living in a different county, and I picked him up, and he had bruises up and down his rear end.
Who?
Trevor had bruises that she was living with him at the time. And so I took him to the county that I was in, the police department. They took pictures. Well, they proceeded to try to find her, but she had came back into Stanislaus County, a different county, and they couldn't go over into that county. So I proceeded to have that, the CPS from the Merced County was checking it out, and so when she moved back into Stanislaus, the case kind of got dropped.
After you called the police, what happened on the 12th of February of 2003?
The officer took the report. He called another officer out, a female officer that takes the pictures, and she proceeded to take pictures. Then he told me that...
Don't tell me what he told you.
Oh.
Just tell me, did either of the officers that respond speak to either Trevor or Hayden?
They did. They spoke to both the children.
And subsequent to that, they came to your home and arrested you?
That's correct.
Is that right?
That is correct.
When they arrested you, did they take anything from the house?
Yes, they did.
What did they take?
They asked me if I had a paddle, and I said I had a cutting board, which was confiscated. That is what I brought here today. It's my cutting board. You can see that I do use it as a cutting board.
Okay.
It hung in my kitchen. It's in my kitchen today. I did get it back because all allegations were dropped.
When?
That was dropped on March 27th. I have that court.
I'd like to see the court papers, please.
And the DA's information is on the back, which was also
I'd like to
dropped.
read it.
It's on the back there.
Is this the only write-up? Does anybody have a police report, please?
I have a police report.
I'd like to see the police report. All this says is that the case was dismissed on the DA's motion for insufficient evidence.
Your Honor, I asked... Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
This has been dropped. This was stated after the fact.
What after the fact? What are you talking about? You have to be told not to hit children with instruments?
And later today...
He didn't pay.
No.
And he did go to the wedding?
Yes. He walked her down the aisle, did everything the father does, except for pay.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Carrie Colmenero says her ex-husband, Michael Maddox, had her falsely arrested for child abuse. Michael says Carrie spanked their 4-year-old son so hard, it left marks.
Is it true that you hit your children with a wooden paddle?
No, it is not true.
Then you're telling me that the police officer who filed this report is a liar. Is that what you're telling me? Did you know the police officer who responded to the scene on the 12th to arrest you? Had you ever seen him before?
I never previously seen him.
So there would be no reason for him to hold or harbor a grudge against you in any way. Is that right?
No.
Is that right? Is that right?
That is correct.
And there would be no reason for you to believe that he would hold or harbor a grudge against your husband in any way?
No.
Is that correct? So you believe that when he filed a police report, he filed a police report that accurately reflected both what he observed and what was said by both you and your husband. That would be a fair statement, would it not?
Yes.
Good. So I'm going to read to you from the police report.
Okay.
Okay? Let's start out with something simple. He responded on the 12th of February 2003 to the defendant's home. I will paraphrase that part of his report because it is not really germane to what I'm going to tell you. When he got to the defendant's home as a result of the defendant's telephone call, he examined your sons, and he found bruises and marks on Trevor. He then asked both boys, little boys, how that happened, and both boys said to the police officer that Mommy spanked me, and that's all they would say. They said nothing else. There were no marks viewed on Hayden, only on Trevor. But based upon those marks and the statement, they came to your residence. Now, fast forward. Police officer, I asked Carrie, that's your name, isn't it?
Yes.
if she had spanked either of her boys earlier that day. She advised that she had, with a wooden paddle, which was still located in the kitchen. At that point, I placed Carrie into custody for violating Penal Code Section 273, cruelty to a child. I then escorted Carrie out of the residence and secured her in the rear of the vehicle. As I was furthering my investigation, Deputy Jeff stayed with Carrie as I went back into the residence to interview Colmenero. That's you. I asked if he knew the whereabouts of the wooden paddle. He advised that it was in the kitchen. I followed Colmenero into the kitchen and watched as he retrieved an approximately 12-inch by 13-inch brown wooden paddle from the counter. I asked Colmenero what the paddle was used for. He advised that Carrie uses it to discipline both boys when they get out of line. At approximately 3:30, both boys, he said, were getting out of control and tearing up the house. He was very specific. He watched as Carrie yelled at both boys and grabbed the wooden paddle and then proceeded to spank the victim approximately 2 times and Hayden 2 times for disobeying her. At that point, he didn't see any other physical injuries on either of the children. He also advised, that's him, that the last time Carrie had spanked the boys was 2 days before, on the 10th, at 7 p.m. for the same circumstances. Then the police officer interviewed your 2 older sons, who confirmed all of that. Both boys, your 2 older sons, say that that's your modus operandi. When they get out of line, you take a wooden paddle and you hit them. So my question to you is, first, stand up here. What are you complaining about? What's your lawsuit about?
My lawsuit is due to being arrested, and this has been dropped.
So, it can be dropped. You did it.
There was nothing stated in our court custody that this was stated after the fact.
What after the fact? What are you talking about? What's after the fact? That you should not hit children with instruments? Is that what you're telling me?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Carrie Colmenero says her ex-husband, Michael Maddox, had her falsely arrested for child abuse. Michael says Carrie spanked their 4-year-old son so hard, it left marks.
You have to be told not to hit children with instruments?
I am saying that this incident is not... I have the DA's information here, and they have overlooked the children. If you would take a look at this also.
Listen to me, madam. Your husband said that you hit the children with a paddle, correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And you say that that's her standard operating procedure for dealing with the children, correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And that the children had marks as a result of that, at least one of the children, correct?
Correct.
You weren't falsely arrested. The case was ironically, erroneously, stupidly dismissed. For what reason, I don't know. Maybe he had a DA who's got his head up his behind. We do not hit children with instruments. You got it? Goodbye. The case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, I think the judge knew what she was talking about, and I was just hoping that the district attorney in my area would go ahead and pick it up.
I am not a cruel mother, nor have I ever been, and Michael Maddox is very aware of that.
I just think that they can see right through it with all my documentation that, you know, she was just after money from me.
I only pray that he stops doing this, lets my husband and I go on and live our lives and parent our children.
They just, you know, quit doing that to my kids. We won't have a problem.
Obviously, if we were mean, they'd be dead by now, or at least, you know, out of our hands. And that's not the truth.
I would like to get custody of the kids, you know, so they live with me and in a stable home.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Lewis versus Robbins. Step forward, please.
Homemaker Debbie Lewis is suing her ex-husband, assembly line worker James Robbins, for half the cost of their daughter's wedding. Debbie says he reneged on his promise to pay.
Ms. Lewis, the defendant is your former husband, and according to the complaint that I read, he agreed to pay for half of your daughter's wedding. Which one of these 2 lovelies is getting married? What's your name?
Angie.
How old are you, Angie?
23.
When are you getting married?
I already got married. I got married in September.
And he agreed to pay for half the wedding? And it was a very reasonably priced wedding. Half the cost of the wedding was $865. And he didn't pay.
No.
And you want him to pay.
Yes.
And he did go to the wedding.
Yes. He walked her down the aisle, did everything the father does.
Okay.
Except for pay.
Okay. Now, Mr. Robbins does not deny the fact that he agreed to pay for half the wedding. Correct, sir?
Correct.
And he does not deny the fact that he went to the wedding. Correct?
Correct.
And who else went with you to the wedding?
My wife, Robin.
So, Mr. Robbins, the ball is in your court, sir. Why didn't you pay for half your daughter's wedding as you promised?
Well, because ever since I've left her in '90, she's been putting her hands in my pockets trying to get money out of me for everything. And the divorce decree that we have does say that she gets to use the kids for taxes reasons. But the state of Utah took custody from her because of verbal and physical abuse. And I got a paper here that says that the divorce decree follows the child. And it cost me $1,600 because she did claim my daughter on taxes where I have the right to. And I also have a letter from her that's showing that the custodial parent gets to claim them on taxes. And if that's the case, I didn't get to claim them for 13 years that we've been divorced.
If you believe that in a certain year, I assume last year, that you had the right to claim a child as a deduction, she claims the child. You claim the child, and the IRS is going to come and look at both of your tax returns and say they will make a decision as to who is going to claim the child as a deduction. The other one will have a penalty. But you don't do a set-off. You promise to pay for half the wedding. Why didn't you pay her between September and April?
I told her that I would pay her when I could, which would...
No, that's not right. What do you mean when you could? How many children do you have?
Well, I have 4 with my wife now.
We have 3 children.
Just a second. You have 4 children now. And how many children do you have that got married last year?
Just 1.
And you said you would pay for half the wedding.
Yes, I did.
Pay for it. It's the right thing to do. And stop making excuses and stop telling me what happened in 1990, that she's had her hand in your pocket.
Well, it just all added up. I mean, everything's added up to
Mr. Robbins, you have altogether 7 children?
Well, I got 4 stepchildren, 3.
Then I'm not talking about your stepchildren. They are not your responsibility.
Well, I married them, so I feel they are.
Well, I'm telling you, by law, they are not your responsibility unless your family is on welfare, are they?
No.
Well, if your family is not on welfare, then those children are not your financial responsibility. They are the financial responsibility of their mother and their father, not you. You have primary responsibility for only 3 biological children. 3. And your first biological child was getting married. She was having a very small wedding. $865 represents your half. And if you didn't have the money to pay the $865, you should have gotten another job. If I make myself clear, sir?
Yes.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $865. That's all.
Versus Rundell. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. White, you and the defendant lived together, according to the complaint that I've read, for a period of time. And it is your claim that during that time you made a loan to her in the amount of $5,000 as a retainer for an attorney because she was having some legal problems. The defendant says that while she acknowledges that you wired the money into a joint bank account that you had for the attorney, that money was paid back because all that money that was in the joint bank account was put in by both of you subsequently. So the money was repaid.
In my opinion, yes, it was.
When did you start living together, Mr. White?
We started living together in April of '04.
How long had you known each other before you moved in together?
I knew of her approximately a year prior to that.
What does that mean?
Well, I was best friends with her brother and basically met her through her brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you moved in together in April of 2004, did you move into her place, your place, or a mutual place?
My place.
And, Your Honor, it was July of '04.
She's probably right, Mr. White.
Yeah, we had a birthday party for me in April, so yeah, then it was shortly after that. That's correct.
What was the financial arrangement when she moved into your house?
Financial arrangement? We really didn't establish any. I paid my bills and she paid her bills. She did insist that she put her check into my checking account. That didn't have anything to do with this particular item.
Just a second.
Yeah.
She put her paycheck into your checking account.
That's correct.
How much was your paycheck, Ms. Rundell?
$16.88 a month.
And it was not a joint checking account. It was his checking account. I did not have access to that account in any way.
When did you make your first deposit into his checking account of $1688?
I believe it would have been the month of July. I moved in roughly maybe the second week in July after we returned from vacation.
So let's be on the safe side. Let's say August.
That would be safe to say.
And how many months did you put your paycheck into that joint account?
Every month.
Until when?
Until January. My paychecks ended in January. Unemployment
August,
started.
September, October, November, December. 5 months.
And January.
And January.
Correct.
So it's 6 months, and that's easily verifiable by looking at your bank statement.
No, I don't agree with her putting that much money in there. She didn't have any credit, so she was using my bank to cash her checks. I wasn't aware that she was putting that money into my checking account every time.
This is a savings account statement right here. I could have put it in my savings had I been allowed to. This shows that there was no money that went into this account until a tax return was automatically deposited in the month of March.
Do you have your bank statement, sir?
No, ma'am, I don't. I just have a check that I had wrote her. I didn't even know she had a savings account.
I don't care whether you knew she had a savings account or not, sir. You get a checking account statement every month.
Correct.
And every month you would see a deposit in there.
Right.
And that deposit would not be your deposit. I mean, we know what
Correct.
our deposits are. So she
Correct.
was depositing her check into your account. And that account would also show certain withdrawals if she was using your checking account as merely just a revolving door for her money. She was putting it in
Right.
and cashing it.
She was putting her check into my checking account during the beginning of her stay at my place, and then we were using my check to write checks for all the bills.
It was not in name a joint account, but it was a joint account because that money was being used to pay joint bills.
Correct.
$1688 per month.
Correct.
Are you chewing gum?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let us assume everything that you say is correct. That for 6 months you put in $1688 a month.
Yes.
That comes to $10,128. Now, why did you need an attorney?
I had filed a police report as a mandatory reporter with the police department there locally where I live.
Is it a criminal matter?
Yes, ma'am.
Is the matter still pending?
Yes, ma'am.
And you retained a private attorney?
Correct.
And you discussed that with Mr. White?
Correct.
Is that right, sir?
Yes, I had no knowledge of her making this report.
I don't care about the
Okay.
substance of the case.
Okay.
The need for an attorney, something else.
Correct. We did discuss the need for an attorney, and it was important that she hired a good one for this situation.
So what did you say to her?
So we made arrangements to lend her $5,000 off my credit card.
That's a conclusion, sir.
We had talked about this and discussed we needed to retain $5,000 for this attorney, and we decided to take this off of a credit card that I have. I had no credit card debts at all. One of the qualities she talked about with me is that I wasn't in any debt. This was a special occasion that I needed to help her out on, so I decided to take a credit card, dump the credit card into my checking account, and give her a check on November 28th for $5,000. She told me when she got her income tax that she would give me half of it in one lump sum and make payments on the rest, and I was fine with that.
That is not true.
Well, tell me what the discussion was, Ms. Rundell.
The discussion, there was never a discussion around the credit card, just like there wasn't a discussion about how we were going to pay our bills when the money was lumped together in the checking account. What we had discussed on many different occasions was how we were going to use the money wisely. This chunk of money, which would have been around $6,000 for the tax return, what were we going to do with it?
You were going to
many
pay me
different.
half that.
I was talking. On many different occasions, we talked about different things. We talked about we would take a trip, but not too far. Didn't want to spend too much money. We talked about paying a big chunk of it to Bank One credit card, which the attorney came off of. We also talked about paying off his Washington State unemployment money that he still owed. When I moved in, was $4,000. It was down to $1,500. We wanted to eliminate that payment each month.
All right, let's get back to talking a little bit turkey, Ms. Rundell. It is your defense that you put in your check into the account and you were living like a married couple.
Correct.
And when you moved in together in July, it was your intention that your money be spent on household bills.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't need an attorney until what month?
October.
That's not a household bill. So that what it really did was cut your participation in the household bills in half. Because if you deposited $10,000 into this account to pay for your expenses during the course of that 6 months, madam, and you withdrew $5,000 out of it for your own personal use, then it's very possible that Mr. White is correct that it was anticipated that you would be repaying this account when you got your tax return.
It wasn't repaying that account. The tax return coming in and was going to be used to pay bills wisely, not just on a credit card. This has nothing to do with paying back the credit card. It has to do with Mr. White and his continued abuse and harassment that has not stopped and will not stop.
It will stop when he gets his money back.
That's right.
Trust me, it won't stop.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Mr. White feels as if he's a fool because he had this outlay of money. You're still using the services of a lawyer.
Correct.
You're still living off of that $5,000.
And later today,
He smoked every single one of his paychecks.
You smoking dope?
Methamphetamines, Your Honor.
Oh, you doing methamphetamines?
Half that went to her nose also.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. James White says ex-fiancée Karen Rundell owes for a loan to retain a lawyer. Karen says she gave her paycheck to James the entire time they lived together.
There isn't a question in my mind that we probably wouldn't be here having this discussion if the two of you were still together. Because if you were still together, you would be continuing to contribute your $16.88 a month into this account. And eventually, this $5,000 would be paid back from payments to the credit card. But you're not together anymore. And Mr. White feels as if he's a fool because he had this outlay of money, and now you're not together anymore. You got your tax return back. There was discussion about paying back this, whatever, Capital One card or whatever it is. Some of the money that he gave you to pay your lawyer. You're still using the services of a lawyer, correct?
Correct.
Have you given the lawyer any more money?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you're still living off of that $5,000. And he says, minimally, our agreement was that she was going to continue to put her $16.88 into the account so we could at least pay the lawyer back from that money. That stopped. Listen, you want him to leave you alone?
I do.
Pay him his money. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Karen's good. I mean, I always said she should have been an actress or an attorney.
I've been thrown around by him. I've had a black eye from the man.
I received a restraining order by an officer at work. I was totally floored.
Throw methamphetamines into it and see what happens.
She wrote down some pretty hellacious remarks on the restraining order, and all which was dismissed.
I wanted him to change, and I love the man.
She's been garnished her wages. Her creditors have been after her.
It's going to spiral downhill. It's not going to change.
She was sly. I should have looked at those red flags at the very beginning.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Pryber Floyd versus Higgs. Step forward.
21-year-old Cassie Pryber Floyd is suing her ex-boyfriend, 22-year-old Andrew Higgs, for unpaid loans and for breaking her windshield with his cell phone.
According to your complaint, Cassie, the defendant, who was your boyfriend, needed some money for rent. You loaned him $300, then you had a fight, and he broke your windshield in your car. You want him to fix it, and then you want money for chauffeuring him around to various things, including seeing his daughter.
Correct.
You have a daughter?
Yes, ma'am.
How old is she?
Year-old.
You support her?
Yes.
How much do you send?
I send at least $150 every week.
If child's mother was here, would she tell me that you spend $150 a week on your daughter?
Yes.
All right, Cassie, so let me hear about this first loan that you made him. When was it?
The first loan was May 4th.
Tell me about it.
Andrew was staying in a hotel, and his brother could not loan him any more money, and he needed money for rent to be able to stay in the hotel. So he asked me if I could loan him the money for the rent. He promised to pay me back.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
He promised to pay me back, even if he had to give me his paychecks until it was paid off. I have a witness that was there.
Where did this conversation take place?
At his hotel room.
Where were you staying at the time?
I was living in Harrisonburg.
Were you staying in the hotel?
No, I was not.
Did you ever stay in the hotel?
I stayed one night.
It's a lie.
I'm going to give you one more opportunity, then I'm going to throw you out of here, which is not a good thing. You do want to be heard, don't you?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
How many nights did you spend there, Cassie? And don't make it difficult for me.
Only one night, Your Honor.
In total?
In total.
Okay, now when was this incident with the windshield?
The windshield incident was on June 22nd.
Between May 4th and June 22nd, did he give you any money?
No.
Did you ask him about it?
I asked him pretty much every day for it. He kept saying, I need to give my daughter's mom child support money, or I need it for drugs. He smoked almost every single one of his paychecks.
Well, didn't that give you a clue, Cassie, that this was not the kind of person you wanted to be around?
For a while, I did stop talking to him. He called me on June 22nd, said he was having problems with his daughter's mom.
What were the problems he was having with his daughter's mother?
He was not paying her child support, and she did not want to let him see her.
What were you doing with your money?
I was paying my rent.
You smoking dope?
No.
Methamphetamines, Your Honor.
Ooh, were you doing methamphetamines?
No, ma'am.
That's a kind of nasty story to make up about you.
Actually, Your Honor, we did take part in that there for a couple weeks, but she was involved just as well as I was.
So if I asked you if you were doing drugs, the answer was yes.
But the money that she loaned...
Just a sec. The answer would be yes.
Right. The money that she loaned me was actually because she was living with me at the time, and plus half that went to her nose also.
That's not true, Your Honor.
She was living down there with me because she lives house to house. She can't take care of her kids. She's been living in 7 different houses in the past year because she can't hold a job. She can't do nothing.
Where are you working now?
I'm a waitress.
Where?
At IHOP.
How long have you been there?
On and off for 4 years.
On and off doesn't tell me. How long have you been there the last stint there?
Probably about 4 months. No, give or take 3 months, 2 months. I'm sorry.
I got it.
Cassie Pryber Floyd says ex-boyfriend Andrew Higgs owes for loans and a broken windshield. Each is accusing the other of being a drug addict.
All right, my dear. Now you can tell me about the windshield.
I had picked Andrew up on June 22nd. We had gone back to one of his witnesses' houses, and everybody was drinking. He had about 2 40-size bottles of beer. Him and I had gotten into an argument. He was getting rowdy with everybody. So I told him I was going to take him home. On our way home, I received a phone call, and he got upset about the phone call and threw his cell phone up into the dash of my car, breaking and spiderwebbing my windshield.
Okay, let's hear about the windshield incident. Andrew.
We was at the witness's house drinking.
What day of the week was that?
Wednesday, I believe.
Wednesday. What time did you get there? Whose house was it? Raise your hand. What time?
7:30, 8 o'clock.
In the evening?
Yes, ma'am.
And how many children do you have? 2?
Yes, ma'am.
Where are they?
One is with me, and the other one was with her dad.
The one that's with you is how old?
She's 4.
And the one that's with her dad is how old?
She's 2.
Where was the one that lives with you at 7:30 in the evening on Wednesday?
Probably spending time with my father. My parents have joint custody, but I have primary physical custody. When my father and my stepmom have time, they do spend time with her.
That is not true. You got a lot of growing up to do.
Yes, I know that.
You know, her father takes care of her daughter. She gets her maybe once a month.
I got it.
I have her every day, Your Honor.
Listen to me, Cassie. When a court has to get involved and give grandparents legal custody of a child.
That's not what happened, Your Honor.
No?
Her father ended up in jail. And
yes?
I did not want him to have to fight me for custody because he was in jail. My dad and my stepmom do have joint custody of
Cassie!
for that.
That is a lot of baloney. Do you want me to tell you why?
Why?
I was a family court judge for many, many years. People in prison do not sue for custody. And the only reason grandparents get custody of children is because a parent is unable, physically or emotionally, to take care of them. That's why a court gives grandparents custody of children. So I'm telling you, you better grow up. You two. Doing drugs jointly or independently not only is wasteful, since you work at IHOP, and you work where, sir?
I'm a truck driver.
Well, a truck driver who does methamphetamines is not a truck driver that I would like to have driving my truck or on the road.
Your Honor, I don't...
Do we understand each other, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now tell me what happened in the car when her windshield got smashed.
She got a phone call from a witness here saying that it was another guy waiting at her house for her. And me and her got in an argument. Instead of losing my cool, I tossed her.
Oh, don't interrupt. Sure, it's true.
I just threw my phone up against the window. And then next day, well, she went back to my witness's house and was laughing, saying that she hit me and everything. And
she hit you?
And Next day, she realized that her windshield was broken. She called me up. It's like, yeah, when you threw my phone, you broke my windshield. And she's like, well, I'm not really worried about it because 2 days later, we got back together.
All right. And then you want money for driving him around to see his daughter. Is that right? That's the last part of your lawsuit?
Yes, ma'am.
Forget it. I don't want to hear anymore. Listen, I'm going to make short work of the two of you. So far, between the two of you, you have managed to ruin your young lives yourselves and bring 3 offspring into this world, none of whom you are caring for. You have done enough damage. Grow up. The time you came here to file a case, to come here, you should have better spent doing something productive. Do we understand each other?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor,
Quiet. There isn't a question in my mind, sir, that if I were to ask the mother of your child whether each and every week she gets $150 from you, I would not get an affirmative response.
Yes, you would.
Maybe once in a while you send it. Put your hand down. Either one of you two ladies the mother?
No, but I'm
I don't care. I just ask a question. Either one of you the mother of this child? Good. Then shut up. You get me? You made 3 babies. You tortured enough people. Grow up. Especially you. That's all. Out.
Parties are excused in the matter of Potter versus Prodi. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Prodi, how long have you been running this study abroad
Around
program?
6 years. 6 years.
And approximately how many students have you shepherded through your program in those 6 years?
Around 400.
How long is the study abroad program?
30 days or 90 days.
Ms. Potter, you signed up with Mr. Prodi for his study abroad program for how many days, 30 or 90?
90 days.
When? When were you supposed to study abroad and where?
The program lasted from February 6th, and it was supposed to go until May 8th.
And what was Mr. Prodi supposed to do pursuant to the contract you had with him with regard to the study abroad program?
He was supposed to provide housing, schooling, and weekend excursions, as well as several half-day excursions.
Can I see the contract?
What we have is the brochure that is stated
Fine.
everything.
Can I see it? Spring semester in Costa Rica. Well, let me tell you what it says. It says each student will have a private room with a pre-selected Costa Rican family and share bath facilities. Breakfast, dinner, and laundry services are included. This is an opportunity to learn Costa Rican customs with a native family while practicing the Spanish language. That's all it says about housing, correct? Okay. Were you placed with a family?
Yes, I was placed with the family.
And did you have a roommate?
Not at the beginning. My witness today, Kristen Tribby, moved into my house about a week into the program.
So then you did have a roommate?
Yeah, but not at the beginning.
And then, according to your complaint, you had a very unpleasant experience at some point. You'll tell me when that was, when you were robbed.
Mm-hmm.
The bottom line is you want your money back because
Yes.
you left. You decided to leave. You didn't feel safe anymore. You decided to leave. Mr. Prodi said that there is no refund policy with regard to this trip. You came. He provided you with your airfare. He provided you with lodging. And if you chose to leave, you chose to leave. Now, tell me first the day that you were robbed. What day was that?
That was on February 25th.
And what time of the day were you robbed?
It was actually in the evening.
Oh, at night? You were out at night?
Yes.
What time were you out?
We left our house at approximately 8 o'clock.
8 p.m.?
8 p.m. And the robbery occurred at about 8:15.
And where were you going?
We were going to the bus stop.
Had you been to that bus stop before?
Yes, every day. We took the bus every day. And any night that we went out, we also took the bus.
And so for at least 20 days, you had used that same bus stop without incident?
Yes.
And then on the 25th of February, tell me about the robbery.
Okay. Well, Kristen and I were waiting at the bus stop. And we had been there for about 10 minutes. The bus was apparently running late. And as we were standing there, 3 men approached us, and they came up to the bus stop, and they were standing at the bus stop like they were also waiting for the bus stop. And then they surrounded us, the three of them. Kristen and I were standing with our backs against, there was a school right behind us, and the wall and the gate to the school is right there, and we were standing there. And the three men encircled us. The one standing directly in front of us pulled out a pistol, a .22 caliber, and demanded that we give him our bags. Well, at this point, Kristen didn't really understand what he was saying because her Spanish is not as good. And
she understands gun.
She understands gun. She didn't see it at first. She didn't see it at first. It was very, very dark at our bus stop. Very dark at our bus stop. And so she was like, "What's going on?" And I said, "Kristen, run." And I was just freaked out, and I started running. And when that happened, they grabbed Kristen, put a screwdriver against her back, and then she just threw her purse at them. At that point, when I took off running, I started screaming to try to get people's attention. 2 cars stopped, and a family on the corner across the street from the bus stop came out of their house.
So and they helped you?
Yes, they did.
So they were nice people?
They were nice people. And after I ran and a car stopped, he came out. The guy came out of his car, and he was like, "Oh, did they rob you?" And I was like, "Yes."
All right, so you got robbed. You got robbed.
But I also got shot at, which is what I was trying to get to.
Get there.
Okay.
You weren't hit.
So, no, he did not.
Okay.
I
So
ducked
that
on
was
the
enough-
other side of a car.
All right. That
It was
was
dramatic.
enough. You had enough of Costa Rica.
Yeah.
You had enough-
No, you know what? That's not the reason why we went home. I was
so
going
then
to
tell
stay.
me.
That's not
So
why.
then tell me. I mean, that's what you told me about in your complaint. Then tell me why you went home.
Okay. We called the police after this robbery took place. The police came to the house. They took a report. They ended up catching these individuals. In addition to the 3, there was a getaway driver. So there was 4 men total. 2 of them were adults. 2 of them were juveniles. So after they caught these guys, they came back to our house where they had dropped us off and said, "Will you come and be witnesses?" And we said, "Yes, of course. You know, of course we want our stuff back. We want these guys to be punished." Well, when we got to the police station, all 4 of those men were standing in the room with us. No handcuffs on. And we were like, you know, why are these guys here? This isn't...
Yeah, this doesn't look like Law and Order.
Yeah, exactly.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I was also advised by Mr. Prati that it was not safe for me to stay in the country.
Is that right, Mr. Prati?
Well, I make the comment, if she was my daughter, I wouldn't have her down there.
Okay.
And later today...
Had you ever dated him?
He was my boyfriend.
It's your boyfriend, excuse me. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. The only one who laughs around here is Bert. When I make him laugh.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ashley Potter says, while on an overseas study program in Costa Rica, she was robbed at gunpoint. She is suing business owner Marina Proti for the school trip.
What do you want from this man?
I want a refund of my money.
For what?
Well, I don't think that he gave us proper safety guidelines.
What?
He did not
Where does
provide
it,
us
just
with-
a second. Just a second. What do you mean proper safety guidelines that could have prevented 4 people who were hell-bent on committing an armed robbery, who drive into a neighborhood, who see 2 young women standing at a bus stop with pocketbooks and say, here we have 2 young girls. These look like 2 marks. I'm going to pull up the car. You get out, do your business, you pop back in the car, and then we're going to go to whatever neighborhood we live in. How could he have prevented that?
By warning us about not taking the bus at night.
How many times had you taken the bus at night before?
A dozen times.
And nothing happened, is that right?
Mm-hmm. But had I been warned that something could have happened, I never would have taken the bus at
How
night.
old are
I
you?
would have
How old are you?
I'm 21. I was 20 at the time this
Miss
happened.
Potter, you mean somebody has to tell you that if you're out at night or if you're out during the day that somebody come up and rob you?
Oh, I'm
you
sure
do
it
watch
does.
the news.
Oh, I'm
you
sure
do
it
know
does.
that if you're standing at a bus or walking in the street and it's dark outside, you can get robbed. That's a possibility. I'm asking you, how do you equate that with it being his fault? If you're looking for someone to blame, blame the police in Costa Rica, because what you say is you weren't concerned. It was a bad enough tragedy that you were robbed, but you say that's not why you decided to leave. You decided to leave because of what happened in the police station. That's what you just told me.
I didn't decide to leave because of exactly what happened in the police station. I wanted to stay. I called the U.S. consulate in Costa Rica. They advised me to leave. I was also advised by Mr. Prati that it was not safe for me to stay in the country.
Is that right, Mr. Prati?
Well, she asked me what was my opinion. After all what had happened to her, being exposed 3 times in front of the witness by police mistakes. I make the comment, if she was my daughter, I wouldn't have her down there. And
Good.
I was honest on that.
Okay.
She's supposed
Got
to
it.
herself.
He was giving you honest advice. That doesn't mean that he gives you your money back.
He offered us a refund.
So?
And he said from the first instance that it was his idea to give us a refund.
So?
He believed that we deserved a refund. He told me in his own words.
Just a second. So if he said he was going to give you a refund, why are you here in court?
Because I wasn't satisfied with the refund.
Oh, well, how much of a refund was he prepared to offer you?
He sent me a check for $842 out of the $4,595 that I spent to go there. I was there for 20 out of the 90 days that I was supposed to be there.
So the idea is he said to you, despite the fact that he's not required to give you a refund of any sort, he said, I'll give you something, even though it's not my fault. What happened to you?
Yes, we had a meeting
Just
with him.
a second. I'm just recapping. What do you want to say?
I'd like to say that he never previewed the house also. When we were coming back from the court, he said that he's never seen this house. It was a bed.
Listen to me. Yeah. How old are you?
25.
25. 25 years old as a grown-up. Is that right?
Yes, I am.
You moved in with her a week afterwards. Is that right?
Yes.
So you lived there for 15 days. And I assume that at least during part of that time you went out with her in the evening.
Yes, I did.
So in the 2 weeks that you were there, you got to know the neighborhood a little bit?
Somewhat.
Don't give me baloney. You got to know the neighborhood a little bit?
Yes.
If I was 25 years old and I thought something was not safe, I wouldn't live there. I would go someplace else.
I did move.
That's why she moved out of her first house.
Because it wasn't safe for us not to be walking together. He said, it's fine if you walk. At nighttime, just be together.
I'm not suggesting to you that anything that happened on that day, on the 25th of February, was your responsibility. You're entitled to travel freely. You should be entitled to walk the streets either here or in Costa Rica, wherever else you please, free from being accosted or robbed. I believe that that's your right. That doesn't mean that he's responsible. What you're looking to try to do is make him responsible. He is not responsible.
Have you seen a copy of the safety guidelines that he provided us with?
Boy, Miss Potter, you're going to have a long and happy life. Accept responsibilities for your own errors in judgment. If you felt that this neighborhood was not safe and it was not safe after dark, then what you do, you stay home and play gin rummy. You don't go to a bus stop in the dark at 8 o'clock. That's all. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Thank you. I didn't go to travel to Costa Rica to be on my own and do my own thing and travel. I paid a certain amount of money because I expected safety.
By the time they arrived to a program this big with 9 different classes, professors, universities involved, etc., a lot of money had been spent already months before.
We had to walk by a crack house, boarded up to get to our house, as well as burnt out cars on the middle of the street.
I hope we'll get lessons, and I think blaming each other won't solve anything. Basic, learn the lesson that be cautious, be careful, and be fair.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Sharp versus Urban. Step forward, please.
Warehouse worker Keith Sharp is suing his ex-girlfriend, caregiver Jeannie Urban, for having him falsely arrested for stealing her license plates.
Mr. Sharp, it is your claim that the defendant, who is a former friend of yours, had you arrested for stealing her license plates.
Correct.
And you really didn't steal her license plates, you just forgot to return them.
I called and had a junkie.
You just...
Okay, we'll go with that.
So let me explain this to you, Bert. You ready?
I'm ready.
He was having some trouble with registering his car. Maybe he couldn't get it smogged. I guess that's what they call it here. He couldn't get it road ready. But he didn't want to get into any trouble.
Right.
Had you ever dated him?
He was my boyfriend.
It's your boyfriend.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Don't laugh. Don't laugh. The only one who laughs around here is Bert, when I make him laugh. Miss Urban over here, she had a car that she was getting rid of for some reason. So he said to her, listen, I can't use my plates on my car because I don't have current plates because I can't get the car registered.
Right.
So as long as you're getting rid of your car, could I borrow your plates? She says, okay, but you have to give them back to me tomorrow, next week. You have a week, a time frame, a narrow time frame. He takes her plates and puts them on his car.
That ain't right.
It isn't right either. And now, Mr. Sharp, you're going to tell me what happened. Tell me first, because Bird wants to know, when you gave her back the plates.
I never did, ma'am.
And ergo lies the problem.
Correct.
So tell me what happened to the plates.
They were on a car. I could never get the car road ready. So I called a couple of junkyards till I finally found one that would agree to come pick it up.
So at the time you called the junkyard, where were you?
I think I was at my mom's. I don't remember. Exactly.
Okay,
I
so
could have been at my grandma's, or I could have been at my mom's, ma'am.
And how far does your mother live from your grandmother?
About 2 miles walking distance.
So you called the junkyard and you told them to come pick up the car?
Correct.
And they said they would?
Yes.
And this car had her plates on it?
Correct.
So let's keep going. I'm getting into this story.
Okay. Well, so anyway, it's like I've had cars picked up from junkyards.
I'm not interested in your editorializing, sir.
Okay.
I have another life other than this
Okay.
job.
Okay.
I want you to understand that. Just tell me the story. You called the junkyard. You were at either your mother's house or your grandmother's house. They live 2 miles apart, and you told them to come and pick up the car, and they agreed to come and pick up the car.
Correct. Well, I was going to give them some time before I took the plates off.
Why were you going to give them some time, sir?
To keep the car from getting any extra tickets while it sat there.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I just...
just a minute.
Okay.
I didn't say anything.
Okay.
I'm just looking at you. So you were going to give them some time.
Mm-hmm.
And?
Well, they came and got the car before I got around to taking the plates off.
And when did you find that out?
That I really can't tell you because...
Well, let's see. You were either at your mother's house or at your grandmother's house. They
All right,
lived
like I
2
said-
miles apart. The car was at your mother's house. Your mother must have said to you, if you were at your grandmother's house, gee, they came and took your car.
No.
They're pretty stupid.
No, I mean, they knew it was going to be picked up, so they didn't think nothing about it when it was picked
Well,
up.
either they're stupid or you're stupid.
Well,
Which one is stupid, you or your mother?
neither one of us.
Yeah, one of them's stupid. Because if the license plates are still on the car, right?
Correct.
Now, when she called you and told you that you wanted her plates back, did you tell her what had happened?
Like I say, at part of the time I was still
Did
driving.
you tell her
Yes.
what had happened?
She knew the car was going to a junkyard, yes.
Did you tell her that you had let the car go to the junkyard with her plates on it?
Yes.
Did he?
No, he did not.
No. Of course he didn't. He kept jerking you around. So you called the police and you said he stole my plates.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
That's what you're complaining about, that she had you arrested. And you were arrested and taken to jail?
Correct.
Did somebody explain to you what theft is, what larceny is?
Not what larceny is, but I do know what theft is.
Well, they're sort of synonymous. There's petty larceny, which is a little theft. There's grand larceny, which is a big theft. Then it escalates into robbery, which is a forcible. Larceny is a robbery. Okay. Larceny is when you either take or retain property without the owner's permission. Now, you took this property with the owner's permission.
Correct.
You retained it without her permission. Do you understand, sir?
Yeah.
Uncross your arms.
Matter of Valdez Park versus Duran. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Who used to be married to this defendant?
I was.
Your name is?
Michael Valdez, ma'am.
Mr. Valdez, Mr. Parks is your domestic partner.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right? And according to your complaint, you and the defendant were divorced 7 or 9 years ago?
9 years ago, ma'am.
You had 2 children together.
Yes.
And the divorce granted you custody of your 2 children, who you have raised since that time.
Yes.
It is your claim that your former wife, because she is not happy with your lifestyle, has called in a series of false reports to Child Protective Services, and you want to be compensated for that harassment.
Yes, ma'am.
In addition, she forged your name to a housing application, and she indicated that one of the children who was in your custody, because you don't have any other children, is that right?
I have a little girl, but she's in Virginia right now.
Well, you don't have any other children
No,
with him?
just
And she needed to have some child that was in her care in order to get an apartment, so she forged your name to an application that indicated that your son was in fact living with her.
Yes.
Mr. Rand said that you knew that she was going to forge your name. That's number one. And number two, she called Child Protective Services, which she has an absolute right to do because she was concerned for her children. That's your defense.
Yes, it is.
Okay. How long did you live together?
6 years.
How old are your children?
15 and 11.
How old were they when you were divorced?
Michael was 3 and Gabrielle was 7.
Was it a contested divorce with regard to the issue of custody?
No, ma'am.
You have what kind of problem, Mr. Rand?
Well, the only reason why he got custody is because I made a mistake and signed a piece of paper giving him custody because of the things that he told me. He told me he could get more benefits from the VA for our children at the time.
Mr. Rand, listen to me very carefully, madam. You have another child?
Yes, I do.
Child doesn't live with you?
No.
There's a reason for that. There is a reason that you have 3 children and none of them live with you. So you want to tell me what that reason is?
Yeah, the one reason, because the 2 kids from him, is because I made a mistake and signed a piece of paper. The second one was I was in an abusive relationship and left the state of Virginia with my child to take care of her.
So what you're telling me is it's somebody else's fault that you don't have custody of your 3 children. Is that what you're telling me?
It's my fault because I left the state of Virginia.
Somebody else's fault because you were in an abusive relationship, because he told you something that was not true. That's why you don't have custody of your children. You ever been in a drug rehab program?
No, I haven't.
Do you need one?
No, I don't.
Have you ever been drug tested?
Yes, I have.
By a court?
Yes, I have.
Have you ever had a positive drug test by a court? When was the last time you had a positive drug test by a court?
A year ago.
And what was it positive for?
Marijuana.
Anything else?
No.
When was the first time you were drug tested?
A year ago.
That was the only time you were ever drug tested by a court?
Yes.
In conjunction with what? Your custody, visitation, what?
It had nothing to do with that.
You mean you just went to court to be drug tested?
I called DCFS because of the things that they were doing to my son.
What kind of a report did you make to Child Protective Services?
I went and I told them what my son and my niece told me. My son told me that Ryan was walking around the house with his pants hanging clear down the front where he can see everything. And he was showing him tattoos of his neck and men on the back of his back, and about just him being around that situation. I didn't think it was right.
How long has your former husband been living with Mr. Parks?
About a year and a half, maybe.
How long?
3 years, ma'am.
How often do you visit with your children?
Well, before Ryan came in...
Do you have a court order of visitation?
No, I do not.
Why not?
Because we never had no problems until Ryan came in the picture.
Is that correct, sir?
No, ma'am. I was previously married after Miss Duran, and the same thing was going on with my second ex-wife also. It was very difficult for visitation. She would say she was going to come. The kids would get all excited and be ready to visit, and she wouldn't show up, or she would show up hours later, and the kids would be upset. So we'd make alternate plans and take them bowling or something to get their minds off of the situation. So.
Why was there never a court order of visitation, Mr. Valdez?
At the time, the judge just said that that would be something that you guys deal with at a later time through court.
Do you have a copy of the judgment to divorce?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it, please.
So at the time, the judge just said visitation was at my discretion.
When was the last time you paid child support?
We didn't have no set time when I was supposed to pay, but I bought my children stuff.
So
and
are you telling me that in the 9 years that he's had custody of the children, you've never paid child support?
Oh, yeah, I paid
Well, that's
it.
what I want to know. How
Yeah.
much have you paid in child support?
I don't know exactly how much I paid, but he went to ORIS a year ago, Ryan did, and told them that I didn't pay child support for a year, which is a total lie, because I gave him my kids stuff and I bought them stuff.
Giving
and that
your
was
kids
the agreement
stuff
between us,
shh. Giving your kids stuff and buying them things is not child support. I'm talking about every week send them $75, $100, $150. And if your answer is, I don't send my children regular child support, and I have never done that, then that's what you answer me. Don't tell me you send them clothes.
Okay, well, my answer is, I don't have a document, but yet they were garnishing my checks.
So when was the last time that
I
you
would
paid
say
child
about
support?
6 months ago.
But let's say that's true. Why haven't you paid child support in 6 months?
I haven't talked to these guys because they give me a hard time seeing my kids. I meet my daughter at the mall, and I go buy her what she needs, take her to eat and stuff, and that's what I've been doing.
That's neglect.
How could it be neglect?
That's neglect. When you don't support your children, that's neglect.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Listen, try to open up your ears.
I am. They are
Put
open.
on your listening
I
ears.
am.
They do not want to be in your custody.
And later today,
why in the world would you do that? Or why in the world would you get on my hood and kick my tie?
Because you acted like a fool, Mr. Ahern.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michael Valdez and his boyfriend Ryan Park claim Michael's ex-wife, Marie Duran, filed false charges with Child Protective Services. Michael also says Marie is a deadbeat mom.
How much money have you received from the defendant since you've had custody of the children?
Approximately, in the last 9 years, only like $2,000.
And did you receive that as a result of income deduction orders?
Yes, and income tax. They held their income tax.
Is there currently a child support order?
Yes, ma'am.
May I see the order, please?
We went to court and I agreed to go below the state standard for the child support.
$207 a month is what you're supposed to be paying. For one child or both?
That's for both. At one time, ma'am, I waived over $12,000 in arrears for her so that she could get a fresh start. And again, she's over $5,000 in arrears again.
Yeah, when I got my settlement, because you wanted half of that, and I gave that to you.
I didn't receive anything.
Yeah.
Half your settlement for what?
I got in a car accident. And he went to ORS and he signed off on child support, what I owed him, and gave him half of my settlement so he could have cash
How much
for
did
the
you
kids.
give him?
I got 13. I think I gave him like about 8,000.
You got 13. You gave him more than half.
Yeah.
Show me.
I don't have nothing to show you.
He says he didn't get it. He didn't get
I know he
$8,000.
didn't.
Did you
Yeah,
get
he said a lot of
$8,000?
No, ma'am, I have never received a check from her for that. That was the agreement, yes. When she got her settlement, yes, she would give me half of it, but I never did. I didn't even know she got the settlement.
You did too.
Listen, I want you to tell me about the false paper she filled out for Housing Authority.
I received a phone call from Ms. Duran saying that I want you to write a letter saying that our son Michael lives with her so that she can receive assistance through housing. And I told her, no, I would not do that because not only is that fraud, but as soon as I did that, you would come and pick him up and take him. So I said, no, I would not do that.
Very smart.
And that's not true anyway.
Did you forge his name to a document?
No, he signed it.
Show me. Show me.
I don't have anything to show you. I wasn't even on housing when Michael was there. I'm not on housing now.
There it is, ma'am.
When that happened right there in August, he promised Michael that he would let Michael come live with me because Michael wants to. These two keep me away from him because they know how much he wants to be there. The cops got involved in everything, and he was there in August.
Madam, this is not Mr. Valdez's signature.
Well, he wrote it. He wrote that. And that's not my signature. He wrote that. And he
I don't know. Maybe it's her signature. Who's that?
That's my sister. Why don't you
maybe
let her sign it?
Maybe it's her signature, but it's certainly not his signature. I don't know who signed it. Your boyfriend signed it. Your priest signed it. I don't know who signed it, but he didn't sign it. He didn't sign it. It's not his signature.
He brought it over to our apartments where I live and faxed it from the office.
Show me. Show me.
Well, he's got. Wow.
Show me. Show me. What do you have in front of you? You must.
I have a letter from his ex-wife.
If you knew enough to bring evidence, and you knew that this was one of the allegations, Ms. Duran.
I didn't know.
How many calls to Child Protective Services did she make altogether?
Exactly, I don't know. There's been some that they didn't allow her to do the protective orders, but there's been 3 protective orders put against me or Mr. Park.
Can I see them, please?
Yes.
Were they temporary restraining orders?
Yes, ma'am.
Any one of them culminate in a final protective order?
No, ma'am. They've all been dismissed or...
May I see them, please?
DCFS. And also there's a dismissal in there that Ms. Duran has filed once again to dismiss the case.
Well, the only reason why I filed through them anyway is because for my son's sake and for his safety.
Nothing came of your
nothing came of it, but
nothing came of your allegations. Yeah. Children's Services followed through with each of your allegations, and nothing came of it. The children still remain with their father. Is that right?
Yeah, but they don't want to.
I guarantee you, madam, if your children didn't want to be with their father, they wouldn't be with their father. They're 13 and 15 years. I'm speaking. They're 13 and 15 years old.
Yeah.
And if your children didn't want to be with their father, they would not be.
And that's why my kids threaten now to run away, that they're going to run away.
Listen to me very carefully, Ms. Duran. You abdicated your role as a mother 9 years ago by allowing your children to stay for the last 9 years with their father. They don't want to be with you. They're 13 and I'm speaking. They're 13 and 15. They have been interviewed by Child Protective Services on no less than, I'm speaking, listen, try to open up your ears.
I am. They are open.
Put on your listening
I
ears.
am.
They have spoken to Child Protective Services in the privacy of offices, not around your former husband or his companion. If they wanted to be in your custody at their age, the court would listen to them. They do not want to be in your custody. They have had an opportunity on no less than 3 occasions, according to these 3 reports.
They didn't ask them if they wanted to come and live with me. They asked them what I reported to them and what was going on.
Are you listening to
Yes,
me
I
very
am.
carefully, Ms. Duran? When your children were asked whether they were being abused, I'm speaking, neglected, or in any way put upon by either their father or his companion, neither one of them said that they were. Neither one of them, when they had the opportunity of speaking in private to child protective workers, said to the worker, I really would prefer to live with my mother. They don't have to ask that question. Children who are 13 and 15 are more than capable of making that statement without it being as a result of a question being posed to them, Ms. Duran. They don't want to go and live with you because you are a neglectful parent.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michael Valdez and his boyfriend Ryan Park claim Michael's ex-wife, Marie Duran, filed false charges with Child Protective Services. Michael also says Marie is a deadbeat mom.
Listen, it sounds to me, Mr. Valdez, that your children have been through a great deal.
Yes, I agree.
A great deal as a result of their mother's behavior, and a great deal as a result of your behavior as well. Would that be a fair statement?
Yes, that is a fair statement.
I mean, without going into particulars, you've been married twice. As far as I know, you finally got your identity straight, right? So now you know what it is, so you're not going to get married again. I assume that that's true.
That's true.
But your children have borne witness to the whole process.
Yes.
So your children have certain emotional scars as a result of all the processes that they've seen. Their mother's neglect, their father's searching, and whatever happened during the course of that process. And I assume that if your children aren't in counseling, that they will be.
They have been, and the counselor said that he didn't see a reason to see him any longer.
Good. How long were they in counseling? I'm speaking. How long were they in counseling?
6 months.
When?
It was been over a year. And currently they are both seeing the psychiatrist at their individual schools.
Ms. Duran, I am going to suggest to you, madam, that if you were smart, you would petition the court to allow you to be engaged in conjoint therapy with your 2 children so that they can let you know in the presence of a therapist exactly how they feel. Would you have any objection to that?
No, ma'am.
I'm certain that it would be good for the children.
I agree.
And if she doesn't want to do that, that's her prerogative. But listen to me. I don't have a case against her. She doesn't like your lifestyle. She doesn't like what she hears. I assume that it's over. You're not going to file any more reports, are you, madam? I certainly hope not. Listen to me. I certainly hope. I'm speaking. You cannot listen to me when your mouth is moving. I certainly hope that before you file any other reports or call in reports to Child Protective Services, you will follow my good advice.
I will.
And petition the court for an order allowing you to see the children twice a month. And you set up and you pay for conjoint therapy with your 2 teenage children so that they can let you know what problems they have with you and what they would like to see you do to be more of a mother to them. Do you understand? Good. If you don't understand, she doesn't understand. That's a vacant look. I assume that means either she understands or she doesn't understand, but she doesn't like what I have to say. Either way, this case is over. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I don't approve of that situation, and I just wanted to do what was best for my kids.
She's not a good mother, and she's abandoned the children, and she's done it on more than one occasion.
I was seeing my kids. Everything was going okay until he came in the picture and stuck his nose in it.
No, before my partner was into it, we were going through the same problems. It's been that way since day one of the divorce.
When I first told him I wanted a divorce, ever since then, he's been one allegation after another.
We're just a normal, happy family. We have a nice home. The kids go to school. We go to church. Just like a normal family.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Aarons versus Anderson, step forward.
20-year-old student Chris Aarons is suing his former friend, 20-year-old student Corey Anderson for damaging the side view mirror on his Chevy Blazer.
How old are you, Mr. Ahrens?
20 years old.
20 years. And you?
20 years old.
When did this incident happen, Mr. Ahrens?
Back in August.
Date.
I'm not sure of the date.
Well, if it was important to you, you would remember the date.
Sorry.
Do you remember the date?
No, I do not.
Don't listen to me. Don't get comfortable.
This ain't gonna take long.
Right. All right, Mr. Ahrens, according to your complaint, the defendant was a friend of yours. You were meeting up in a parking lot on some undisclosed date in August of last year. When you got there, I don't know, for some unearthly reason, you decided to bump his truck with your car, just for laughs. You gave it a little nudge. He got annoyed. He got out of his car, according to you, and jumped on the hood of your car, causing damage. Correct? That's what you're suing him for.
Yes.
And he says you started it, right?
Right.
Sounds right to me.
There was no damage to his car, and why?
Who cares? Why did you bump his car?
I was just doing it as a joke to get...
You were an idiot. You were an idiot.
It doesn't justify me having to pay $300 for the mirror that he broke.
Now, sometimes when you act like an idiot, there are consequences. If you're in a car that weighs thousands of pounds and you decide to scare your friend, because it's late at night, right? Did happen at night.
Yeah, so it wasn't
right?
that late.
And in a parking lot. And you came up from behind him and gave him a little push. Is that what he did?
Yes.
Did you see him behind you?
Yes.
What did you think when he gave your car a little push?
Why in the world would you do that? Well, why in the world would you get on my hood and kick my car and break my mirror?
Because you acted like a fool, Mr. Ahrens.
So does that justify him acting like a fool and...
It does if I say it does.
Damaging my car?
It does if I say it does. There are consequences to behaving badly. As far as I'm concerned, if we're dealing in a court of equity, it would not justify him getting out of his car and coming over and punching you in the face, which he didn't do. He said, you disrespected my property, I'm going to disrespect yours.
Well, then
Is that pretty much what it was?
Correct.
Sounds right to me. Bye.
Has been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Miss Dady, where did you meet Mr. Dickerson?
At a club.
When?
Around Thanksgiving time of 2000.
When did two of you start to date?
Shortly thereafter.
Did you ever live together?
Yes.
When?
That's a lie, Your Honor. She wanted me to live with her.
When?
He lived with me the first time he moved in. I had had a really bad truck accident, and I was in a cast, had 3 pins in my right wrist. So he moved in with me to help me, well, help take care of me.
When?
In January of 2000.
No, that was 2001.
Excuse me, 2001, he's correct.
For about 3 weeks.
That's not living with you, that's staying with you to help you.
Correct.
Did you ever live together in an apartment that you shared where you paid joint rent?
We lived together, correct, but
I was never
always...
on the lease with her, Your Honor.
Mr. Dickerson, listen to me, sir.
She's lying.
Mr. Dickerson, I'm going to say this one more time, sir. I ask questions, you answer questions. If you choose to talk to each other and shout at each other, then you can do that outside. Inside, I run a very orderly, organized place. You got it?
Got it.
Good. Got what question I asked? Remember, such a lecture. I forgot my question. I can always backtrack. Okay. 2001, in January of 2001, he stayed with you for 3 weeks. Did you ever share an apartment together, even if you paid the rent?
Excuse me, he didn't live with me for 3 weeks. It was approximately 3 to 4 months. It was about 3 weeks after we had met that he moved in.
Okay, so he was helping you out for 3 or 4 months.
Correct. And all of his belongings were there, I mean clothing-wise.
Okay, then he moved out.
I asked
3 or
him
4
to.
months, you asked him to move out.
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you ask him to move out?
Well, I came home from a business trip to find a cute little blonde sitting on my couch. Which...
Okay, so that was in 2001.
Yes, ma'am.
And he moved out, but that didn't end the relationship because according to your complaint, the first loan you made to him was in 2003.
No, ma'am. The first loan that I made to him was in April of 2001, which was when he had asked me to lend him $440.
Miss Dady, give me the dates of the loans that you claim Mr. Dickerson made.
Okay, the first one was to pay...
2001, $400. To pay for what?
$440 to pay probation fees so he wouldn't have to go to jail the next morning.
Okay. What's next?
Then we broke up, and then he called me again 2 years later. Said that he had been born again, he'd done his probation, he had gone to rehab. In 2004 is when I loaned him the $900. He was having to go to work about 30 miles from our residence, and he was driving my BMW, and I didn't want him driving it any longer, so he had said that he had this car that he needed to get fixed, so could I give him the $900 to get it fixed, which I agreed upon.
Okay, what's next?
Then about 3 weeks later, he had gone for an interview at a pretty prestigious dealership and supposedly supposed to be offered a general manager job, which was supposed to be paying him netting $10,000 to $12,000 a month. Well, he wanted to have nice clothes and he wanted to have a nice car. And besides that, he didn't go and pick the Volvo up. Well, about 2 weeks later.
What do you mean he didn't go pick the Volvo up? I don't understand what
because it wasn't fixed, but I was unaware of that. So
you gave him $900 to fix the car and he never went and got the car?
Correct. So I went to the place that he had left it at and actually talked to the owner. And the owner told me that he had in fact, called his sister and left several messages in Galveston.
But he never went to pick up the car.
Correct.
So he had your $900 and they had his old car.
Exactly.
Got it. So then he needed nice clothes.
He needed some nice clothes and then a nice car. So it was our agreement that he was going to pay for the clothes. I was going to give him $1,800 for a down payment on a Camry.
So did you do that?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
So you gave him $1,800?
Yes, I did.
When was that?
The $900 was on 129 and the $1,800 was on 210.
What's next?
Then on Valentine's Day, he had been kind of whining about needing a cell phone because he has to make all these business calls and everything.
Whatever. You got him a cell phone.
Yes, ma'am. Our agreement was that I pay for the phone as a gift to him, and then he's going to pay the deposit and then be responsible for the monthly bills.
Well, so you were buying him that as a gift?
Yes, ma'am, and I'm not suing for that. But the $125 deposit, which I had to pay that day in order to get the phone activated, I paid.
What else?
Then he just did not pay the cell phone bills. What had actually happened...
So they, just a minute, so they didn't pay the cell phone bills, they turned off the cell phone, and what happened? You lost your deposit?
No, actually what ended up happening is I had the phone activated on the 15th of February.
Had it turned off on the 17th.
I had it turned off on the 26th.
You turned it off, so what happened?
Yes, ma'am. He somehow called Sprint and had the phone turned back on because I understood he was making drug calls. And I know nothing about any of that. I've never even seen one, let alone done one.
I don't know what else you want with regard to the cell phone. Just tell me what you're suing for with regard to the cell phone.
The 2 monthly bills, the February and the March bill, that he's responsible for.
Well, why is it on your bill?
It's not. He has a separate billing.
So?
That indicates his phone. Our agreement was that he was going to be responsible for the monthly bills.
Just a second. He was going to be responsible, but you put it on your account.
Correct.
It's amazing to me. I can understand it when somebody is, 21 years old and stupid, but you're a grown woman.
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Mr. Dickerson, now I'll hear you, sir. She wants to hold all this money from you.
Okay, Your Honor, all this is she wanted me to stay there.
Listen to me. Just start with the probation fees.
She gave me the money for the probation fees. I went down and paid, came back. A couple of months later, I decided to move out on my own because I wasn't ready for that type of relationship, and she never did understand that. And she would always try to buy me and control me with that way. That's why she turned off the cell phone 3 days later after she got it.
Don't interrupt him.
That's why she turned off.
Let's get to the $900 she gave you to fix you a Volvo.
And I bought the Volvo.
You bought the Volvo?
Yes, I did.
Well, I understand that, but then it broke down, and you said you needed to have it fixed.
The car's still running. No. My cousin's still using it.
No. Don't interrupt. I'm sorry. But then she gave you another $1,800 for Camry.
Now, think about this, Your Honor.
No. I'm just asking you.
Okay.
What was the $1,800 for?
Because she wanted me to look good.
Drugs.
Shh. Miss...
I'm sorry.
Well, I can...
Don't say you're sorry again, because I'm going to throw you out.
If I owed you all this money, why would you continue to loan me money if I owed it to you?
You're absolutely right, Mr. Dickerson. That's the only smart thing you just said to me. That's my question. Why would an intelligent, mature woman keep giving you money when starting in 2001 you never paid her a dime back and she just kept giving you money and giving you money and giving you money? And I have to wonder whether there was ever a legitimate expectation that you were going to get any of this money back.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Do you think that she's bothering you?
Yes.
And later today...
They wouldn't let me do traffic school if you already did it in the last 18 months.
And you had done it in the last 18 months?
Yeah.
Because you had another speeding ticket?
No, because I had my accident.
Sounds to me like you're an accident looking to happen.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Janet Dady says ex-boyfriend Jimmy Dickerson owes for 2 car loans and a cell phone. Jimmy says Janet was trying to control him with money.
It would seem to me that a woman like you would know after 4 years that he's a taker. And any money that you give to him is like throwing money down the sewer. You're never going to get it back.
May I say something?
Sure.
Judge Judy, when we were only together, when he gave me the $440, then we broke up. I told him to leave because of his behavior and because he never ever went to work.
Miss Dady, you're telling me that he never worked. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
That he couldn't hold a job, a continuous job, probably because he had a drug problem?
Yes, ma'am.
You picked him.
2 years later, after he had convinced me that he had in fact changed, I thought I would give him a second chance.
You wanted to give him a second chance. So within the first month, he needs $900. Just think of what you did. You gave him $900 because the goodness of you say he's clean, he's sober, he's everything else, right? We're going to give him $900 so we can get his car out of the shop. And then you don't see the car. And then according to you, you went down to the shop and they said he never came to pick it up. So he's got your $900. What do? You give him another $1,800.
The only reason I gave him the additional $1,800, Your Honor, is because he had gone to an interview. He was supposedly supposed to be hired as the new used car manager, netting $10,000 to $12,000
and who told you that?
A month. Him.
I rest, if I were a lawyer, I would say I rest my case. Miss Dady, I hate it when women are taken advantage of. But I hate it worse when women act stupid and allow themselves to be taken advantage of. Now let me hear about your counterclaim in 30 seconds or less.
The reason I have so many jobs, Your Honor, because she would show up on my job at any time doing donuts in the parking lot, demanding to see me.
I don't want to hear you.
I don't know how she finds out where I work. I mean...
Let me tell you something, sir. You think that she's bothering you?
Yes.
You think you took advantage of her?
No.
When you take money from somebody, and you took money from her because, according to you, she wanted to keep you around, is that right?
Basically, yeah.
Just a second. You think she wanted to keep you around because she legitimately cared for you?
Yes.
And you cared for her or not?
No.
So you took her money. You knew that you didn't care for her the same way. Does that make you a good person or a bad person?
A bad person. Your Honor.
Right! Well, that's another smart thing that you said, Mr. Dickerson.
This is the...
And let me tell you something else, Mr. Dickerson. Bad people, when they come into court, you don't come into court and cry, she's stalking me, she's harassing me. Well, maybe she just got fed up with you. She got fed up with being taken. Not nice. Did you file a police report?
No.
Mr. Dickerson?
No, ma'am.
So it evidently didn't bother you that much, sir, that she was coming and doing donuts with her car in the parking lot.
I didn't want to hurt her.
Oh, that's good. So why would you want to hurt her now?
I don't want to hurt her now.
Good. Your counterclaim's dismissed. Thank you very much. Smarten up, Miss Dady.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She just saw it because she gave me the money.
He's a user.
And she didn't get the return on it that she thought she would.
And he's a loser.
I didn't want to be with you.
I'm a survivor.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Kirkland versus Polson. Step forward, please.
Linda Kirkland is suing her daughter, 19-year-old Laura Polson, for the balance on a car. Laura says her mother agreed to make payments while she was going through a divorce.
Miss Kirkland, this is your daughter. What's your first name?
Laura.
Your complaint says that you purchased a car for her with the understanding that she would make the payments on the car.
Correct.
But then you stopped making payments on the car. The car was, in fact, totaled, and your mother is out in excess of $5,000. Yes. That we agree on. Is that right? So what I'd like you to do is tell me what your defense is.
Well, the only reason why I stopped making payments is because I fell into I got divorced and had to move back home. She said I can move back home with her. So I moved back in with her, and she said that until I got a job and I got back stable on my feet, that I wouldn't have to pay her the monthly payments on the car, that it would be okay. She would help me out as my mom, she would help me out.
Well, that was nice of her.
Right.
So you moved home, and you were how old?
19.
And what were you doing?
Well, I didn't get a job until my 19th birthday, and I moved home in September.
When did you get a job?
In October.
Well, that's a month.
Right.
Were you paying rent?
No.
So whatever money you were earning, you had for yourself.
Right. Well, I had accumulated a lot of bills while I was married, and he wasn't helping me pay them.
Like what?
Well, there was 3 credit card bills, our wedding rings we were still paying off, a watch that he had bought, and we had also a second car. And in November...
Who was driving the second car?
He kept it when I left him in September. He wouldn't release the car to me. It wasn't in my name, it was in his name and my mother's name. So the cops wouldn't release it to me.
Well, they would release it to your mother.
Right. But she just said it would just be better if I took the Honda and he took the Expedition and he would pay for that, and I would pay her for the Honda once I got more stable.
Well, now you're getting stable. So what happened?
Well, in October I got a job, and she said I still don't have to pay her. I could wait a couple more months until at least some of my bills were close to getting paid off.
What?
Well, I didn't actually let her not pay the car payment for a few months to let her get caught up on bills, but she had pretty much destroyed the car, and I let her not pay it so she could build up money for the deductibles for all of the damage that was done to the car.
What kind of damage did you do to the car?
She got assaulted before she got married. The guy came back and did more damage to the vehicle, so there were 2 claims there. And then Good Samaritan took a friend home from a party in the middle of the night and caused an accident. And so the car was pretty messed up. So I let her...
You left that all out?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're in December. What happens in December, Miss Paulson?
Well, in November, Jeremy had been being late on the other car payments, so my mom took it back from him and let me drive that, and I was making payments on that because we have a loan on that, so she said it'd be better to pay for that instead of getting it repossessed, and you just wait on the Honda a little bit more until you could afford both.
So how many payments did you make on Jeremy's car?
I think I paid on it November and December.
What do you mean you think?
I'm not real sure.
How many car payments did you make?
I think 1.
Where is that car now?
Her husband has it.
He caught up on the payments, or
he is caught up on the payments. She pretty much abandoned it on January 1st. We got into a big fight. She took off in the Honda. Well, she didn't take off in the Honda. The police let someone come and take her in the Honda because her license had been suspended.
For what?
I had got a speeding ticket.
And
they just sent me a notice that said that I had to pay until, or else my license would get suspended. So I sent the money in, and it still got suspended.
So what did you do about it?
Well, I was going to do traffic school, but they wouldn't let me do traffic school if you already did it in the last 18 months.
And you had done it in the last 18 months?
Yeah.
Because you had another speeding ticket?
You know, because I had my accident. She had told you about it.
Sounds to me like you're an accident looking to happen. So far, I haven't heard a legitimate reason why you don't owe your mother this money.
Well, she had told me that I could wait until I was financially back on my feet. And I was paying for the Expedition, and I had went on a trip with my friends in December, and I guess she was mad because she didn't give me permission to go. So she was upset about it, and when I came back, I came back on January 1st, and when I woke up in the morning, there was steering wheel locks on both cars. So I walked to my friend's house, and they drove me over there, back to my mom's house, and I had brought in the police there to release the Honda to me because it's in my name.
There's no such word as brought in.
That's brought. Right.
Keep going.
And the cops came, and they told her she had to release the Honda to me. And 2 days later, my friend was in it, and he took off in it without my permission whatsoever. I had told him numerous times that he was not to even start my car.
And?
And he crashed it into a house, and it was totaled.
Who do you live with now?
I live with my boyfriend.
Now we have a boyfriend. So you have a boyfriend and a husband. Is that right?
Well, I'm separated, legally separated, and I'm
You
waiting
mean you're
to
separated
go.
in court? A court issued an order of separation?
No.
Well, then you're not legally separated.
Well, I'm separated, but I have to go through the divorce. I did all my paperwork.
Listen to me. You're living with your boyfriend. What does he do for a living?
He's a mechanic.
You had to look up at the sky to figure out what he did? What does he do for a living?
He's a mechanic.
And what do you do?
I'm a secretary.
So why haven't you started to pay your mother back for the car?
I just got my job on Monday. And
what were you
I've only
doing
had it
before
for 2
that?
days. I haven't been working.
Why not?
I lost my job in December, and I've been looking for work.
Get a job as a packer in a grocery store. What are you doing, sitting home, doing nothing?
Well, I've been looking for a job. No one's called me back.
I'm looking for a job. I'm looking for a job. What can I tell you? What do you still owe?
$6,165.52.
You understand that the limit court can order is $5,000 judgment. Is that right?
I understand that.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step. Simpson versus Scaife. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Miss Simpson, you were taking a family vacation to Jamaica.
That's correct.
And at the time of this vacation, this lovely young man was your daughter's boyfriend.
That's correct.
It is your claim that you agreed to advance him the money to go on this vacation with the agreement that he would, when the vacation was over, pay you back.
That's correct.
You did take him on the vacation, paid for him. He and your daughter have now parted company, and he has never paid you back.
That's correct.
And Mr. Scaife says that he had a wonderful time on vacation,
Right.
but he was your guest, right?
Right.
Who was this?
This is my roommate at the time. We were invited. Her daughter lived with us. He was a witness.
Did you go on the vacation too?
No, ma'am.
Just he went.
Just me.
You didn't want to go to Jamaica?
I wanted to, but she wouldn't pay for me.
Oh, step up. Tell me your name.
Justin Runyon,
How old are you, Justin?
23.
And you were living with Kyle and...
Natalie.
Natalie.
She lived with us, actually.
So tell me, Justin, when was this trip?
I think it was like May of last year.
And Natalie told you about the trip?
Yes, ma'am. She came over to our house and was all excited and said that...
Look at me. No, look at me.
She told Kyle that he could go with them for free.
She did?
Yes, ma'am.
She said, oh, you can come with us and you can come for free.
Yes, ma'am.
And didn't you say, can I go for free too?
I joked around about it, but...
Well, tell me how you joked around about it.
Well, Natalie...
Come on, tell me what you said. You remember exactly that she said, please, I want you to come to Jamaica. You can go for free. So if you remember that so clearly, I want you to tell me what it is that she said to you and what you said to her. Think carefully.
Natalie told Kyle that he could go for free, and Kyle's like, well, are you sure about that? And she's like, even if we break up, you don't ever have to pay my mom back.
Oh. Oh. It's like I'm watching Dumb and Dumber. Huh? Right? Don't you love it?
I'm just trying to figure out which one is Jim Carrey.
Yeah, so you're right. Me too. All right, Justin. Thank you very much. You've been most enlightening. You may sit down now.
It's like shooting fish in a barrel. It's incredible.
Isn't it wonderful? It's just wonderful. I don't even need a good night's sleep. Okay. Now, Kyle.
Yes, ma'am.
Last year, what were you doing to support yourself?
I was a bartender.
Were you working full-time?
Yes, ma'am.
So, get good tips? Nice-looking guy like you?
Sometimes tips were great. Sometimes we weren't so busy.
Well, you managed to support yourself, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Are you still working as a bartender?
No, ma'am.
What are you doing now?
I paint houses.
Got a girlfriend?
No, ma'am.
What happened with Natalie?
It just didn't work out.
She's a nice girl, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Come on, Natalie.
Thank you. Been wanting to play too.
You want to play too? No, I usually have all the fun. Natalie.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever tell Kyle in Justin's presence? Let's see if I can repeat that exactly. I want you to listen to me carefully, Justin, to make sure that I'm going to repeat it pretty much as you told me. That you wanted to take Kyle on a trip to Jamaica for free. He doesn't have to pay for anything. And even if you break up, he doesn't have to pay your mother back. That's what you told me, right?
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am, I did not.
Tell me about the trip to Jamaica, Natalie.
We had a great time.
Good.
Originally, my mother and myself and her best friend were scheduled to go on a trip. Kyle and I got a little serious, and he hinted around a lot. He would have liked to go. I didn't really mind that Kyle went. I mean, I was actually looking forward to him being there. I knew he did not have that kind of money, and neither did I, honestly. So when I ran it past Mom, I said, Mom, Kyle's kind of after me. He really kind of wants to go. You know, is there something we can do, whatever? And Mom said, can he borrow the money from his parents? Kyle said, no, that's not an option. Mom said, well, I can give him a loan. And at that time, we were expecting Kyle to get a settlement from an car accident that he had been in. And everything we did revolved around that settlement. Utility bills, cell phones, anything. He kept going back to that.
So he kept hoping to get this settlement check.
Yes, ma'am, he did. And in addition, when you asked him what happened with Natalie, you should ask him about his financial priorities and where his responsibilities are.
Well, why don't you tell me?
They're nowhere. They're video games, predominantly. Kyle was in between jobs most of the time. After his car accident, I actually paid his bills in he and Justin's home.
What kind of car accident were you in, Kyle?
I was rear-ended at a stoplight.
Were you the driver of the car?
Yes.
So you sued the car that hit you?
Just for medical bills and everything like that.
Kyle, did you sue through an attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
An attorney doesn't sue just for medical bills, Kyle. Attorney sues for pain and suffering, for your injuries, and to reimburse the company that paid your medical bills, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever get a settlement?
It's in litigation.
Look at me!
It's in litigation right now.
So you haven't gotten the settlement yet?
No, ma'am.
So what you were doing is really you were counting your chickens before they were hatched?
No, ma'am.
Ah, okay. So what kind of an arrangement, Natalie, did you make with Kyle for the trip?
Originally, I said, my mother will pay for you to go on the trip. However, we need to pay her $50 to $100 a month until you receive that settlement, assuming that it was going to be within the duration of the relationship, which I quickly realized that that wasn't going to be the case.
All right, Kyle.
Yes, ma'am.
How much did you give Miss Simpson towards the trip?
Nothing. As far as I knew, it was a gift.
Listen to me. Just answer my question. How much did you give her?
I haven't given anything.
Well, see, that is confusing to me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I have one of him climbing a palm tree.
Oh, let
We
me
jumped on the
see.
banana
Oh,
boat.
I want to see. The insurance company that's handling his lawsuit with his lawyers that's been pending for ages is certainly going to want to see these pictures.
And later today,
She said you advertised for a
New, never been worn chicken suit.
new, never been worn chicken suit. This wasn't something you planned on wearing, I assume.
Michelle Simpson and her daughter, Natalie Ballard, say Natalie's ex-boyfriend, Kyle Scaife, owes for his share of a trip to Jamaica.
Now, what do you do for a living?
I'm an administrative assistant.
You have a household?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Who lives in your household?
Right now, myself and my youngest daughter.
And are you the sole support of yourself and your youngest daughter?
Yes, ma'am.
How much do you earn a year?
Approximately $38,000.
Okay. Now, how much were you making last year?
Under $20,000 a year.
So you made a little more than half of what the plaintiff made, is that right?
Probably.
Right. And you only had to support...
Myself and her daughter.
You were supporting her daughter?
Well, we were doing it
Just
together.
a second. You were supporting her daughter?
We were doing it together, actually. It wasn't. I wasn't
No,
paying
ma'am.
everything. We were both paying everything together.
So you were supporting...
Myself.
Right. Then why would you think that this lady who's running a household, taking care of a minor child, why do you think that she would decide to blow you to a $1,000 vacation?
I was actually shocked. You know, actually, I never asked.
I'm shocked too. I want to tell you something, Kyle. It's shocking to me. Shocking. Because her daughter would have gone without you.
I'm sure she
In a
would.
flash.
Yes, ma'am.
In a flash, she would have gone without you for a week, gotten a nice tan, come back, shown you pictures, and said, I had a great old time.
Yes, ma'am. Probably.
You don't want to be a bum, do you, Kyle?
I wasn't. I never asked.
No,
her
you
that.
don't. Listen to me. You don't want to be a bum, do you?
No, ma'am.
You don't want to take things that should really be better spent on a child
Of course not.
for you to go on a vacation, do you?
Well, I was invited to go on a vacation, and it sounded like a good idea.
I don't believe that, sir.
Well, that's the way it happened.
I don't believe that, sir. I believe that she advanced the money, and I believe she gave you a lot of latitude to pay it off because, you know, you were expecting some windfall from some bogus accident that hasn't come through yet. And you, like any other 21-year-old, are living in a fantasy world that you're going to turn out to be a millionaire because somebody rear-ended you even though you're not injured. He's going to be sorry he came here. When you went on this trip to Jamaica, did you participate in water sports?
No, ma'am.
Did he participate
Yes,
in water
ma'am.
sports? Sure he did. Sure he did. Did you go swimming?
Yes, ma'am.
What other water sports did
I
he
have one of
participate in?
him climbing a palm tree.
Oh,
We
let me
jumped on the
see.
banana boat.
Oh, I want to see. The insurance company that's handling his lawsuit with his lawyers that's been pending for ages is certainly going to want to see these pictures, but I want to take a look at them first. Does this look like a healthy man to you?
Yeah, pretty healthy.
Oh, look at him climbing up the tree. Yes. Look at him climbing up that tree. Picking up his girlfriend. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Oh, well, not only will you probably not get this money from your car accident and the substantial injuries that you alleged in your complaint, but you owe her $916. Judgment for the plaintiff. Step out.
Parties are excused. Let me step out.
I think somebody finally taught him a lesson.
Regardless, win or lose, at least I'm glad this is over with.
I know Kyle better than anyone else, and no one can make him do anything he doesn't want to do but judge Judy.
I'm just tired of messing with them. I'm sure they're tired of me. I just soon move on.
I did speak with Kyle several times.
Nothing was ever said about it until the relationship was over.
He did say that he would reimburse me the money once he got his settlement.
I'm sure they want the money, especially since the relationship didn't work out.
Oh, I'm thrilled. Justice has prevailed.
Cold-hearted people.
And I think we need to go back to Jamaica real soon.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Alarid versus Ayala. Step forward, please.
Small business owner David Alarid is suing teacher Sandra Ayala for the cost of a chicken suit he sold to her via eBay. Sandra says the suit was supposed to be brand new, but instead it was old and dirty.
Mr. Alarid, you advertised this chicken costume on eBay.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant purchased it and then somehow paid for it with his PayPal or pen pal, I don't know, something, pal, that I don't quite understand. But the bottom line is she canceled the payment that she made to you and she kept the chicken suit. Okay, so $154 was the amount of the purchase plus shipping, and you want $2,650 for the price of the chicken suit plus your aggravation.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a lot of aggravation, Mr. Alarid. And Miss Ayala says she purchased this as a result of an ad that you placed on eBay, and she said you advertised for a
new, never been worn chicken suit.
New, never been worn chicken suit. She purchased it in good faith, she sent you the money in good faith, and she got this dirty, disgusting, worn chicken suit, which she doesn't want, right?
Correct.
And which she's not going to pay for. Now, when did you purchase it?
This was in May, early May.
And what did you purchase it for? This wasn't something you planned on wearing, I assume.
No. I'm a special education teacher, and just on a volunteer basis, sometimes I throw events for the special ed kids in my area. So I had a couple of picnics and concerts coming up in the early summer, and we have some children's music, and there's a song about a chicken in it, and I thought it would be great to have a little chicken mascot.
David Alarid says eBay customer Sandra Ayala owes for the cost of a chicken suit. Sandra claims David misrepresented the sale.
Do you have a copy of his ad that he ran on eBay?
I think he brought the original ad.
Can I see it, please? Okay, here we go. New, never worn, deluxe adult chicken mascot costume. And is this the way it came?
This is the way it came.
Can I see it, please, Bird?
Sure.
Come on, have a little bit of a sense of humor, babe.
And bring the feet with the shoe prints.
Name is Bird. I take it kind of personal.
We've known each other a long time. Listen, this has been worn, Mr. Alarid.
Yes, ma'am.
So, how come you sold something that had been worn to her as brand new, never worn?
Well, when it was shipped, it was brand new, never worn. It was sold 5 months ago.
Okay, let me see. No, it doesn't look too awful. You bought it in May what?
I think the date was May 8th. It was May 8th.
Excuse me a minute.
Who gets it?
Let's keep it right here for a minute. Well, I haven't finished doing the case yet.
Oh, okay.
May 8th. And when did you receive it?
Just about a week after that.
When did you notify them that you didn't want to pay for it?
Well, that's not... I did pay for it. I paid for it right away. PayPal is a...
You paid for it right away. Paid for it on May 8th.
Exactly.
Okay. Then you got it about a week later, say May 15th.
Mm-hmm.
And you realized that it was
worn.
It was worn. So what did you do?
I contacted eBay by email. That's the only way. And I contacted PayPal. And I said, what do you do in a situation like this?
Okay. Do you have any emails to support that?
I do have emails. I have emails between he and I, but the
No.
PayPal...
I want to see...
This is the record of PayPal.
Let me see. Is this the first time you had bought something on eBay?
Yeah, it was my first time bidding on something on eBay, and so since I wasn't sure how to go about it, I had to call PayPal and said, what do you do when you receive a fraudulent item, when something comes worn and dirty and you didn't pay for that? And they said, oh, this man has actually refunded your money. I said, why? And they said, well, we can't be sure why, but you'll be getting the money in a day back to your account. And then he sent the email that said, PayPal accidentally sent you that money. You have to send it back to me. So I contacted PayPal again, and they say, we don't do refunds at all. It's seller initiated, and there are no accidents.
Now, when did you correspond with Mr. Alarid about the suit?
The day that the money came back into my account.
Was that also in May?
Yes.
So practically immediately?
Exactly.
Is all that correct, Mr. Alarid?
No, ma'am.
Okay. When did she contact you and let you know about the condition of the suit?
June the 14th, after I sent several emails, finally, out of desperation, eBay and PayPal advised me to file a complaint with the FBI Internet Fraud Division, at which point I sent an email saying, look, I'm filing a complaint with FBI Internet Fraud Division.
That was on June 14th?
Yes, ma'am.
How many of these chicken suits have you sold, Mr. Alarid?
On eBay or altogether?
Altogether.
Probably about 50.
50?
Yes, ma'am.
How many on eBay?
Probably about a dozen.
Where do you get them from?
Out of New York.
How much do you pay for them?
I pay $49.99, I believe it is.
So you pay $50 for them?
Yes, ma'am.
She doesn't like her suit, so you either want the money or the suit back.
Well, it goes a little bit beyond that at this point.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She wants to give it back to you.
I asked for it back several times.
Yes?
And her emails, which I have right here, I have a copy for you.
Yes, I'd like to see them.
Okay. Here's the emails right here.
Well, she told you right away, sir. She said, I don't know what clerk you checked with about the condition of the suit, but that suit arrived in an old bag, in an old box, and the suit was full of leaves and debris, and the rubber parts were stained with marks on the beak, head, and shoe prints on the feet. They're still there. She told you that right away.
That was June the 14th.
So, she wants to give you the suit back.
I asked for it back.
Now you got it. Listen to me, Mr. Alarid. Are you in business?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you ever had complaints filed with regard to these chicken suits before?
Never.
So you paid for 50 chicken suits, which you paid $50 each for, equals $2,500. That's what you paid for the chicken suits. You sold 49 chicken suits times 124?
Yes, ma'am.
Equals $6,776. That's a fair profit. You made almost $4,000, and you've never had a complaint.
Correct.
Consider this the cost of doing business.
Oh, it's not a problem.
Perfect. Give him his chicken suit.
Okay.
Perfect. Now you have your chicken suit and your profit of almost $4,000. I would walk away a happy man, Mr. Alarid. Thank you very much. This case is over.
3:30 and 3:31 on the calendar in the matter of Rayford versus Rayford and Rayford versus Parker, respectively.
Thank you very much.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Right, I'm going to deal with these cases one at a time. Mr. Rayford.
Yes.
According to your complaint, sir, you and your son were estranged for quite some time. You hadn't seen him since he was a little boy.
Well, it's been about 7 years.
And you were incarcerated for a period of time, is that right?
Yes, we both were.
You were both incarcerated for the same crime?
No.
When did you go to jail?
In 98, and I was released on December 5th, 2000.
And when you were released, according to your complaint, you and your son signed a lease on an apartment together.
Right.
And it is your claim that your son did not pay his half of the rent and bills on the apartment.
Right.
Your son says that he merely signed this lease as a co-signer because you couldn't get the apartment yourself. He never really lived there. You lived there. Is that your defense, sir?
Correct.
Okay. Where did you go when you were released from prison?
When I got out, it was initiated that I can come stay with him. I was trying to gain a relationship between my family because I haven't been spending a lot of time with him during the years they were coming up. Because I had a problem. I was on drugs and stuff, so once I got my life together and organized, I wanted to regain a relationship with my family. So when I got incarcerated, I talked to him before I left the prison. He said, okay, you come stay with me and my girlfriend till you get...
That's this young lady right
Miss
here.
Parker.
So you did. You went to
Right.
live with your son and his girlfriend.
Right.
How long did you live with them?
About 4 months, maybe.
Is that right?
No.
How long did he live there?
7 months.
Okay. Did you go right from their house to an apartment?
Well, at the time, they was having problems. I was going back and forth to L.A. and back here and staying with my sister. Okay, when they reconciled...
Just a minute. We didn't get there yet, sir.
Okay.
Can I see the lease, please, that was signed?
Okay. It's right here.
Now, Mr. Rayford, did you have a discussion with your son about your son actually living in this apartment?
That's right. We sure did, because he was staying there because
Not staying there.
Right.
I'm talking about living there. You said that he had reconciled with his girlfriend. If he had reconciled with his girlfriend, why would he sign a lease with you, sir, that says only the two of you could live there together?
After we had our differences, they reconciled, he moved back, and then he moved his furniture and his property out of the place. On October 5th, I got the complaint charge here, to where I had to file a restraining order on him because he used his lease to enter my house and to remove the property out of there without my being there.
Whose furniture was it?
It's supposed to have been mine.
What
but he
is
took
supposed
it
to
back.
have been? Who bought it?
I don't know who bought it. When I came home, it was in the garage stored up for me to put it in my place.
Where did the furniture come from?
The furniture came from my uncle. He said that I can have the furniture because he was moving. So rather than him throwing it away, he said that I can have it.
And what was it supposed to be used for?
I had let him use the furniture because he had something to sleep on because he didn't have no bed. I went on and put the furniture in there trying to make him comfortable because of his condition.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Rayford Jr. What was your arrangement with your father about this apartment?
We went to 5 different apartments, and they said that he couldn't get his apartment because he doesn't get enough on Social Security. But just so happened that a friend of ours, of me and Miss Parker, she's not capable of paying her rent, so every month I would pick her up to go get her check and cash it, and I would go to this mortgage management place out there, and I would pay her rent. So I had asked him, you know, I'm looking for an apartment for my father. Just so happened the people that I was paying the rent next door, they was moving, and I asked her if we can have it.
And she said okay.
She said okay.
Now, did you discuss with your father you moving into the apartment with him?
No.
Well, you signed the lease with him.
Correct.
Why was that?
The only reason why I signed the lease with him because I have income, so she told me to put my name on the lease so that it can show that we have 3 times the amount of rent so he can move in, so I had went on and did that.
Now, your father says you were in prison for a period of time.
Correct.
When was that?
95 and 98.
For what in 98?
For robbery.
How long did you serve?
3.5 years.
From 95 to 98?
Correct.
During that period of time. Have you been rearrested since 1998?
No.
Been doing okay?
I'm doing so excellent. My probation officer is real proud of me, so I'm one of the most successful guy on this case.
Okay. Did you ever live in this apartment with your father?
No.
Did you spend a night there?
Correct, yes I have.
How many nights did you spend there?
I spent the night there, the total amount he lived there for 4 nights. I know that 2 nights that I spent there, I had to get up in the morning and take him to his appointment and fill out paperwork and stuff on him for Social Security and stuff like that. See, I was his in-home care giver, so I had to be around so that I can take him to make his appointment, to fill out paperwork. See, only way I played in the role, I just make sure that his stuff, his financial stuff and his medical stuff got done.
Okay. Now, Mr. Rayford, how often did your son sleep at your house?
If I totaled up all the times that he was in there, I'd say a good month, off and on.
Out of how many months?
Maybe 4 or 5 months.
So that he really wasn't living there?
No. Well, what I'm saying, the room that he had his clothes and stuff in there, but he was in and out, in and out. He came in and out when he got ready, to where I told him, I said, well, he couldn't help me with the bills. I have someone here that wants to rent the room out to help me with my income, because once I pay his half and the lease of my half, I don't have anything my income won't cover and plus pay the
How
bills.
much do you get from Social Security?
$712.
What other income do you have?
None.
Well, Mr. Rayford, the rent on this apartment is how much?
$425.
Okay. Well, Mr. Rayford, you do have some extra money. You don't have a lot of extra money, but you do have some extra money to buy food and stuff.
No, that goes on my utility bills.
Okay. Now, when you lived with your son and his girlfriend for those months from December until May, did you pay them any rent?
No, it was established that I didn't have to because they told me to use what I had to get me a place.
Wasn't that very nice of them?
Sure it was.
So they told you to save your Social Security, your $725 for the months that you were living with him.
No, but no. The months that I stayed there, I didn't have no income.
You had none?
None.
So they were just very nice to you?
Right.
So why would you sue your son now?
Because he was staying with me, and like I said, he wanted to use the lease to enter my house when he got ready. He come in my house late at night, and I'm in the bed. He leaves my door open. He made the threats that if I change the locks on the door where he can't enter, he's going to tear it up. So the day that I put the restraining order for him threatening me, That was when he supposed to be in court October 5th. He didn't show up. He used that time to have a locksmith at my house to remove everything when he could have did it when I was there.
My question to you, Mr. Rayford, is aren't you ashamed of yourself for suing him, considering the fact that you weren't a great father?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, well, sure I'm not. So don't you feel embarrassed to sue him?
No, I'm not.
Well, you should.
No, I don't.
Well, you should.
No, I don't.
Parents don't sue their children.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Frank Rayford says his son Antoine Rayford and his girlfriend Valentina Parker owe for unpaid rent and bills. Antoine says this is the thanks he gets for trying to help his dad.
Parents don't sue their children.
Well, I had to do it to figure out a way to do it legally to get my money back.
Listen, you're not going to get your rent back, sir.
Okay.
Because
well,
I find that was not your arrangement with your son.
Okay.
That was not your arrangement with your son. And I'm surprised at you. If what you said to me was you got out of jail in December and what you really wanted to do was to sort of reunite with your family and try, to make amends because you weren't around there all the time, and your son did a lot of nice things for you to find yourself half a year later in court suing him is not a way to make things better.
Okay.
Did he turn around and sue you for all the support you didn't give him from the time he was a little boy?
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. You're responsible to support him. How much did you pay for his support from the time he was 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old? Nothing. That's my sense. So he didn't turn around and sue you and say, listen, you're my father. You brought me into this world. You're supposed to help me grow up. You're supposed to be there and set an example for me to do the right thing, to be out there working. You didn't do that. You're involved in drugs. You spent time in jail. You weren't around. You never supported him. You ought to be ashamed. All right, let's get to your case against Miss Parker. Miss Parker let you come and stay in her house for 6 months. You paid no rent. You tell me what you're suing her for.
For undue cable bill. When I moved out, she had me to, her cable got turned off, so she asked me to co-sign for her to have the cable turned on.
With your credit? You wanted you to co-sign? All right, go ahead.
Okay, then, so, in other words, she couldn't have got to put in her name, so I did. She paid everything. She paid the deposit and everything right there, but I had to use my name. Okay, then, the bills have been paid all the way up to the time that she moved in the new residence. She had it turned off. So I goes to have the cable turned on at my house in my name, but there's an unpaid bill there.
How much is the unpaid bill?
$171.79.
Okay, so let's say, because I couldn't really understand your complaint, let's say $171.79 is what you think she should pay for the cable. Didn't you ever say to yourself, I lived in her house, they paid the rent, they took care of me for 6 months without my paying a penny, because you said you had no money. They paid gas, electric, if you made a phone call, not to speak of rent. Why would you want to sue her for $171.79?
Because initially I didn't have the money to pay it myself, and the agreement that we had that she was going to take care of her cable bill.
All right. Now, you are going to explain the cable to me in a minute, and you also have a countersuit for rent.
Yes, ma'am.
I would assume that you would not have sued him for rent had all this not happened. Is that right?
That's true. Even though we had the agreement, I was willing to, I didn't even bother him about it.
Right.
I just couldn't understand how he did that to me.
He has no funds to get that to you. Now, anyway. So let's forget about rent. Let's talk about this cable bill, because you say he moved out and took the cable box.
Correct.
Did you take the cable box?
No, I didn't. Why would I take
Who
the cable
took the
box?
cable box? Raise your hand if you took the cable box.
No, when the cable was turned off, the people asked them, was the cable box turned in? They said they did turn the cable boxes in. I never did have them because I wasn't there.
Can I speak, Your Honor?
Yes.
This is a bill stating that the cable was not cut off when I moved. I went to the cable company to try to do it. She showed from the last time I paid and the balance of it. And that's dated after I moved. When I got the paper from Mr. Rayford saying I owed him $370 something, that's what made me go down there. And it was a balance of $170 something, which I couldn't do anything about it without the box nor his identification because it was in his name.
Well, somebody's got the box.
Well, I never did take the box because I wasn't there. And I wasn't staying in
Which
the
you
house.
can see the cable was not cut off when I moved. It was still on. That's even dated up to the 11th month, which is
right, which is far after he moved.
Yes.
You can't get your money. You better find the cable box. I'm dismissing his claim against you, Miss Parker.
Thank you.
You understand?
Yes. And can I just make a statement with that?
Sure.
And with that agreement, it's even with Social Security. I had to fill out a form stating that he'll pay me $300 a month and back pay. That's how he was supposed to get his back pay. We both had to do it.
Can I see
This
it?
is a statement here. It's just saying basically it was still some information they needed, which what they needed was for me to state that I was charging him for rent.
Okay.
Basically is what that is in Social Security.
I got
They needed
you.
more information.
I got you. Now, how much of a check did you get, Mr. Rayford, when you got your back check from Social Security?
Oh, it's right there. It's $800.
And so you went in, you put down security deposit for your apartment?
That was it right there, the $800.
So you managed to save up some money?
No, I didn't.
While you were living with her? Sure you did, because she didn't charge you rent, and you got $800.
Your Honor,
That's right,
I have
I
a
got-
paper right here as far as the down payment. He didn't pay that whole $800. He paid half because I told him take the other half and buy you some clothes and hygienes and things what you need. It has the first payment that I made. I went up there twice and made it. The first payment was $425.01, and the second payment he made was $530.01. As you can see on the rental agreement, that I'm the one who did all the legwork. For the simple fact is he never was around to sign the paper. My name is on here.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I also have something to say. After Mr. Rayford had my mom served with the paper and everything, Mr. Rayford came to my job. I'm also suing him for harassment.
What happened at your job?
He came to my job. Just so happened I was there. I brought my boss, my supervisor at the time. He went to her saying little threat. I have her here with me. I'd rather her
like to
stand
hear
up
what
and
you
speak in regards to it, me almost losing my job behind it.
Okay. Tell me your name.
Tanya Smith.
All right, Ms. Smith, you were her supervisor?
At the time I was, yes.
You remember a time when Mr. Rayford came to your place of employment?
Yes, I do. He called a couple of times.
Can
and
you
then he
tell me
came.
when it was?
The first time he called, he wanted to know if she was at work, and I told him she wasn't there. He said that he wanted to get in contact with her. A couple days later, he came in with another guy and said that he needs to get in contact with her. If she don't get in contact with him, she's not going to like what he's going to do to her.
He said that to
He
you?
said that to me.
What happened next?
After that, I told him I had nothing to do with it. He needs to get in contact with Tina herself. After I got off work that day, I called her and let her know what he said.
Did he contact you?
He came to my house several times, and my mom told me. She called me at work, to which I have had to change my work hours from 6:45 in the morning to 3:45. I work from 12 midnight to 9 in the morning, to where I won't have to see him if he do come in. If anyone call Walmart, a gentleman, they'll tell him I don't work there. Simple to the fact, with that, what he said to her, I don't know what it meant, basically how he meant it.
Can I make a statement on that?
Absolutely.
When I was calling the job, I was calling there because I didn't know where she lived at, her phone number, to get in contact with her about the cable bill. Okay, I came up to Walmart shopping. Okay, I asked was Tina, was she at work at that time? I had asked her. She said, no, she's not. I said, would you have her to get in contact with me because I want to find out about this bill? And so she never did call me. When I called her on the job, I did talk to Ms. Parker. She said, I can't talk to you right now, and I'll call you back. Okay, then, so my calls have never returned, so I called back the next day. That was the only time that I was calling to find out about this cable bill. So since she didn't want to get in contact with me, I went to the court and filed the papers to find out how I'm going to get this cable bill paid.
Mr. Rayford, sounds as if your son and his girlfriend were very good to you at a time when you needed
Well,
them.
I'm not doubting that.
So you shouldn't be here in court as a plaintiff at all. You should be trying to be a good parent now. It's late in the game, but you certainly shouldn't be here harassing your son, harassing his girlfriend, both of whom are employed, seem to be doing okay. Your son seems to be doing okay. Hasn't been in difficulty since 1998. He came to help you even after you moved. You should not be here. And you certainly owe Miss Parker, instead of a threat, a thank you for letting you live with her.
Yeah, but I didn't threaten her, though. I had no reason to.
Well, you probably made it unpleasant. It's not the kind of harassment, Miss Parker, that you get compensated for. But what I'm saying to you, sir, is looks to me as if you have a pretty nice son, and he's got a pretty nice girlfriend. And it just makes me sad for him, not for you. It makes me sad for him.
Well, I hated that it had to return the result to this myself. You know, I didn't want to go this far, but
you shouldn't have gone that way at all. So say you're sorry and thank you. Your case is dismissed. And as far as you're concerned, maybe I think he's got it.
You know what, Your Honor? I wanted to say that this is right here is it's a paper that he's supposed to sign so that I can get paid when I was in home service. He didn't want to sign it because, like he said, when he pays his bills, he don't have no money. So I asked him to sign it. He didn't want to sign it because he felt that he should get half of this money.
So you were supposed to get compensated.
Right.
From the federal government as a home health aide.
Correct.
But your father had to sign for the fact that you were in fact there, and your father said to you, I'll sign for it, but you have to give me half the money.
Correct.
Sounds like you're doing fine.
Correct.
He doesn't get it. You got it? You doing fine with her?
Yeah, I'm doing excellent. I mean, I'm in school. I mean, I got a job.
He's doing well.
You know, the only dentist in my life is him. I just wanted to be over. It ain't even the money issue. It just leave me alone. Period.
It's over.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step
Let me go on.
In the matter of Stenger versus Stenger. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mrs. Stenger, the defendant is your former daughter-in-law.
Correct.
Who is this?
My husband.
And who are you?
I'm Tasha.
How old are you, Tasha?
18.
You're the granddaughter.
Yes.
And you?
Jennifer.
Who are you?
I'm the partner of Deborah, 6 years.
Deborah.
Yes.
Okay. This is your lawsuit. It is your claim that your former daughter-in-law was having some trouble with Tasha. She called you and asked you if you would let her come and live with you. Your granddaughter did come to live with you. You claimed that your daughter-in-law promised to send you support for the child. She did not, and then your granddaughter took off from your house and went back to her mother's house.
That's basically correct, yes.
When did she come to live with you?
January 12th.
And when did she leave your house?
I noticed her missing the morning of July 16th.
Did things go all right between you when she was there?
Basically, yes, we had a couple normal teenage things, but other than that, Tasha was a wonderful child.
What was your arrangement with her mother with regard to support for Tasha when she was living with you?
When we got home on the 12th, Debbie was there with Tasha. She explained to us that she was having some problems with her at home and then asked us to take her in, and if we didn't do so, she was going to turn her over to foster care. So we took her in. We made arrangements that day that, she would take care of her financially.
Well, no, tell me exactly what was said.
She never actually named, per se, a dollar figure, but she just led me to believe that she would meet her financial needs, and I just took
But you
that.
never discussed an amount?
No.
How much did she send you from January to July?
In the beginning, she brought over money orders, totaled $270. What I was getting was actually the child's father's support money. What happened was it ended up getting frozen, and then from
how much money was she receiving from your son?
$44 a week. It was payroll deducted.
Was there ever a conversation that she would turn over his child support payments to you?
Yes.
Did you ever discuss any money in addition to that she was going to pay you?
No. When we needed help, when I would call her, like how she needed some medical treatment, I would call and leave messages on her answer machine that I needed up and beyond what the insurance was going to cover. She never would return any phone calls.
Where was your son at this time?
He was there.
There where?
About 5 miles away, and he came over 2 and 3 times a week and spent quite a deal of time with Tasha.
Why wouldn't you call your son and tell him that she had some medical bills?
I called both, and he did end up giving me money.
Okay.
Total of, in the 7 months Tasha lived there, he gave me out-of-pocket money, $700.
He gave you directly?
Yes.
$700. And she gave you $270?
Yes. And
did she give you any more than $270?
Never.
Now, you say the child support at some point became frozen. When did that child support become frozen?
It started on February the 1st. I just simply asked the question to my son, do you have to pay child support money to a child that no longer resides at that address? And he at that point didn't even know the answer, so he called his caseworker and asked. And I guess that's what started it rolling. And then a notarized letter from Deborah on 2/20 states that the child was residing with me, and they just, after having heard from both parents, just froze the money.
And so the money kept coming in?
Kept coming in, but was not going, and to this day has never been released. There was, on October the 17th, there was a court hearing. And to my knowledge, what money was supposed to have been frozen while Tasha was in my care was supposed to be, according to this paperwork, turned over to me. But as of today, I've not received one dime.
Well, but you will be receiving.
According to the child
let me
support...
Let me see the paper that you have.
To that. According to what they have told us, there's no dollar figure there, but from what I've been told, there's supposed to be somewhere around $600 that Tasha was actually entitled to.
The impounded funds shall be released to Jean Stenger. That's you.
That's right.
So you will be getting that money.
At least the $600, yes.
Okay. Now, is there any discrepancy in what your mother-in-law has indicated to the story that you would tell me?
Yes, absolutely, Judge.
Let me hear.
I did correspond with Jean on taking some family intervention with my daughter. When Jean volunteered to take Tasha, there was no monies per se as an amount to keep her. I did tell Jean, providing that I did receive her father's child support, that I would indeed turn that over to her. Jean is correct on stating that the child support was impounded on February 2nd. Due to the child support being impounded, it froze my other daughter's child support also. I have another daughter. So while both child supports was impounded, I had to write a letter, as Ms. Stinger said, to get the child support released.
For your other daughter?
For my other daughter. Tasha's child support was indeed impounded.
Okay.
And I could not turn over the monies to Ms. Stinger.
Do you work?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do?
I work at Sears and I'm at shipping.
How much money do you get for your other child for child support?
I receive $44.12 per week per child.
And how much do you earn?
I bring home about $700 every 2 weeks. But in January, I fell on my back. I was off work for 14 weeks, and I received 50% of my pay. I was bringing home $250 every 2 weeks.
Okay. Mrs. Stanger, your lawsuit seeks $3,000 from the child care expenses.
Right.
There has to be an agreement, which there clearly was not, other than the fact that she would turn over the child support payments to you.
Well, she did lead me to believe that she was going to care for the child. She didn't move her into my home with the understanding that I was going to meet all financial debt.
Right, well, you wouldn't have. She was getting $44 a week from your son.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, the $44 a week that she was getting from your son doesn't cover child care expenses, even when the child is in her care. So she have to use her income as well. She says that she was receiving half disability for a substantial part of that time.
That is correct, Your Honor, but that's not the whole story. According to all of these, this is the police reports that took place within their home. She was couldn't go back to work, according to the police reports, because she had to go to drug rehab.
That is a lie.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jean Stenger says ex-daughter-in-law Deborah Stenger owes for child support costs when her granddaughter lived with her. Deborah says she gave Jean all of her child support money.
Mrs. Stenger, whether the injury at work was drug-related or not, if she could not work for that period of time, then there was no additional money coming in.
Right.
So let me tell you what would have happened, Mrs. Stenger. She could have gone back into court and pursued additional support for Tasha from your son. Stop shaking your head, because it's a possibility. I know. I was in family court for 25 years, sir.
But he didn't have a job, so he was hurt.
So you as parents pitched in and took care of your granddaughter.
Well, the only thing, I incurred so much expense. Number one, I had to take her back and forth to school, round trip, 4 times a day, 80 miles a day. She had to have $3 a day for lunch money.
I understand that it was difficult, but that's what grandparents do.
Well, you don't mind
And
it,
you
but when
wouldn't-
you're abused.
And you wouldn't be here today, Mrs. Stenger, were your son still married to the defendant?
No.
Of course not. And you're not suing both of them. You're choosing just to sue your former daughter-in-law.
Well, I felt because she had full custody of her, and we had virtually an agreement that that's where it should go.
No, virtually an agreement is not an agreement, Mrs. Stanger.
Because I didn't have her put it in writing?
No, you said it was my understanding that. And I believe what she said to you was, I will turn over the child support payments to you. So in addition to giving you the child support payments, she also gave you a little bit of extra money, $270. But that is not an agreement. It's not an agreement that is binding in a court. So you have a son who's not working, because why?
He has a heart condition and is still under doctor's care as of today.
So?
Well, what we're saying is he was working 3 jobs and they made him quit, okay?
Made him quit all 3 jobs?
All but one. He could remain to do it because he could do it out of his own home.
So you have a son who can hardly take care of himself, and you have an ex-daughter-in-law who's got 2 children, who was really paying the lion's share of support for both children for a long time, because on $44 a week you don't take care of a child.
That was only after, what do you want to call it? The child support was had a reduction done in it. He was actually paying $134. I have a court printout where he paid her $100,000 over the time period from the day of the divorce.
Since when?
Was actually, when were you divorced, Debbie? 87?
So you're telling me from 1987 he paid her $100,000?
Yes.
So?
Well, I'm just stating that he paid more than $44 in
What
that
I'm
time
telling
frame.
you is, so?
Oh, I understand that.
It doesn't come out to a lot of money. Sounds like a lot of money. Paid her $100,000. If you sell me, paid her $100,000 in the last 2 years, in the last 3 years for the support of 2 children, I would say. Okay, you know, man's doing his job. But since 1987,
yes, I know.
If he's paid her $100,000, that doesn't cut it for me.
How many years was it?
14 years.
What about
14, I'll figure it out what it is for you. All right, my trusty calculator. 100,000 divided by 14 divided by 12 equals $595 a month divided by 4.3 is $138 a week divided by 2.
No, 3.
3 at that time.
You mean she had 3 children?
Yes, in the beginning.
Well, glad you told me that. That's even less. So forget it. You got $1,500. But I have a sense that one of the reasons that you're here is because you're angry because your granddaughter left your house without so much as a goodbye, a thank you, or goodbye, I'm going back to my mother. Step up. Did you have a fight with your grandmother?
I had a few little fights.
Well, the last one. You left sometime in July. Why?
I got tired of hearing her and everybody put my mom down as she was a bad person.
And they did this to you, in front of you?
Well, they did it in their bedroom or in the living room or when I was in the room, like I was invisible, you know. It didn't matter where I was.
That's a big mistake. That's a terrible mistake. You're absolutely right.
That is not true. Conversations were not held in front of the child. That's not true.
Well, listen, may not be held in front of the child, but if they're held in a room where she can overhear them.
That didn't happen.
Well, that's what she says. What do you think happened? Why did she leave?
Number one, we got a phone call in regard back to the child support. On July 5th, they called. Debbie had kind of rapport with them, and she had been in their office on that day, and when she left, they had informed her on that day if she would get letters from both the children, they would release the funds. July 7th, Debbie started showing up at my home. Tasha was with us for 7 months. During that time frame, Debbie never one time called me or my husband and asked how the child was doing, if she was in need of anything, nothing. Like I said before, when I needed the help with the medical bills, Tasha had came to us. She had a root canal that needed to be done, an abscess on her tooth. Debbie did carry insurance, but when it came time for the insurance check come around, the insurance company mailed it to Debbie. Debbie took the funds and cashed the check and never refunded, never paid the dentist, never. And that's a lie. I had the bill from the dentist.
That's not a lie. Why did that happen?
When the check came to me?
Yes. What did you do when the check came to you?
I cashed it and I bought Tasha socks, underwear, and shoes.
Wrong! Wrong!
Absolutely.
That was wrong.
Yes, it was.
So, how much was the check?
$89.10.
You owe her that. You want to buy your daughter underwear, you buy your daughter underwear.
I didn't pay that. I didn't have a root canal done. I didn't have anything done. I still have
The child to this day hasn't had the root canal. The infection in her tooth was so bad, they placed her on antibiotic, and I took her, as they requested, to a medical doctor. And well, what I'm saying to you, it was in her blood system. They said that it wasn't life-threatening yet, but it could get there. And if I hadn't got her help...
That's a dangerous situation, I'm telling you, that you want to take care of that.
And it was one that I got placed in the middle of.
What?
The tooth has been pulled.
The tooth has been pulled?
Yes. Yeah. Thank heaven.
Well, that's cheaper than root canal, just to pull out the tooth. Where was the tooth?
My
wisdom's going
back
to take her
molar.
Didn't the dentist tell you that it would be better to do a crown and to do root canal work on a young child's mouth rather than pulling a tooth so that the whole mouth shifts? See, it pays to have a father who's a dentist. Didn't he tell you that?
Yes, ma'am, but I didn't have the $562.
Get it! Get 2 jobs. Get 5 jobs. Okay, so far I have that you owe her $89.10.
The only out-of-pocket expense as far as for debt, she needed a new book for school for one of her classes, $27.10.
So you bought your granddaughter a book. I'm not so concerned about buying your granddaughter a book. Listen, if the reason that you left your grandmother's house is because you heard her and your grandfather saying things that were unkind about your mother, that was a tremendous mistake on their part, not on your part. But if you wanted to be a little more grown up, you would have said, I want to go home to my mother.
That's right. She needed what to do.
One time, and they said that I couldn't leave.
That's not true. She never.
They said that you couldn't leave. Why?
Because I lived there, and my grandfather would not let me leave.
You mean you felt like a prisoner? Is that what you felt like?
Oh,
no. It didn't happen. I think this letter here that she wrote
Did you go out with
herself
your friends?
explains why she left.
You never went out? In the 7 months you lived there, you never went out with friends?
Once a weekend, if that.
Fine, so you went out with your friends. Doesn't sound to me like you were a prisoner.
She went anywhere and everywhere she wanted. I seen to it she did.
Okay.
And I think this letter that she actually wrote here actually explains why she left. She thought she was going to get that money, just like I stated, from the child support, and they was going to spend it on those things.
Okay, good. She starts out with, sorry the letter's so sloppy, but dear Granny and Grandpal, I'm sorry, it's been great and all, but it was time to go home a long time ago. You don't get me or understand me. Well, that's probably true because grandparents don't get foolish teenagers. Maybe someday you will. And I know my mom is not perfect, but she is my mama and she needs my love. And I need hers. That's an honest feeling. I hope that you both know that I love you very much, and I'll be back tomorrow for my things. It's not about how much you did or are doing or anything like that. It's just that nothing has changed in my heart. Your granddaughter says to you she knows she needs her mama right now.
Mm-hmm. And she should.
And that I will always have you. And she tells you what I'm getting a new job and a cell phone. She's made plans for school.
And all those plans have fallen through.
And she ends the letter by saying, I'm not dumb, and you know that I will be thinking of you twice on everything. And then she says, Angel's love is always with you all. This is not a mean letter. She's just saying,
no, it's not.
It's a teenage letter, and she's saying, I love you, but I love my mama, and I have to be with my mama, and you don't really get my mama. You don't like my mama. I may not like her style, but she's my mama, and I need to be with her right now. And perhaps it could have been handled differently, Mrs. Stanger, but that's not the way it was handled.
No.
So.
No, I think that's the whole thing in a nutshell.
I got you. I understand.
Since that time, we've not heard from her at all.
Mrs. Stanger, children need the widest possible community of love and affection that they can possibly get, even when they're 18 years old. And clearly, your daughter has had a lot of ups and downs. Fair statement? Clearly, when a mother gives up physical custody of a child to someone other than a parent, it's saying that there have been problems that I can't cope with. And the fact that her grandparents said, fine, we'll try, is a testament to them. Not something that should make you angry with them if they did some foolish things while she was there by letting her little pitchers overhear conversations. That was the wrong thing to do. But basically, they had reasonable hearts because they said, you know, she's our granddaughter and we love her, let her come and disrupt our otherwise calm household. When a teenager comes into your house, your whole house turns upside down. It never is the same. So your grandparents loved you enough to say, come live with us. And your grandmother drove you back and forth to school. It was a big drive every day.
Yeah, it was.
Could she have said to you, if you're going to live here, you have to go to school locally?
Yes.
Of course she could have. She could have said, listen, I'm not driving an hour each way to get you to and from school. I want you to live with us, but you'll have to finish high school close by our house. But she wouldn't do that because you got your friends. You wanted to finish high school where you were, so she extended herself. It's time to put a period and not be so angry, okay? Will you try?
I'm not angry.
Are you angry at her?
Oh, no. No, not angry at all.
Good. I'm glad. Your lawsuit's dismissed. That's
all. Yeah, this is case number 349 on the calendar in the matter of Cameron versus Cameron. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated.
Got to get comfortable here. Thank you. Miss Cameron, the defendant is your mother. You purchased a computer for her on your credit card. It's your claim that she paid you back for a while and then stopped, right?
Yes, I came on vacation last year, October 2000, and she took me into Best Buy, and she was looking at computers, and then she went to go to purchase the computer, and then she asked to borrow the money off me. We hadn't talked in 5 years because she had done that previously, not paid me on things before. So I thought I'd give her another chance and renew our relationship, and
so
once
you put
again,
it on your credit card?
Correct. I only got approved for $700 at Best Buy. I put $700 on the Best Buy account, and I put the remaining $954 on my Chase MasterCard.
And then she paid you for a while. How many payments did she make?
Well, I have copies of 3 checks, but she's paid me $500 total so far, and this has been a year. And she told me when she got her inheritance money that she would pay me back for the computer.
What inheritance money?
Her uncle died and left her a bunch of money, and she promised me when she got that settlement that she would definitely pay me back. Come to find out, I talked to a family attorney. She did get a settlement, the inheritance, in January, and she gets paid every year in January of this year, 2001.
What was the settlement?
My uncle who raised me, he left me his life insurance policy.
How much?
I get $10,000 a year.
And she chose not to pay me when she got that money in January, and she chose to retile her house. And I've only been out of college for a year, and it's still on my credit card. I've been out of a job for the last 6 months. I've asked her continuously for the last 6 months, can you please pay me that money?
How much does she owe you with the interest?
Okay, let's start out with the Best Buy. It was $700 open account. It's 21.4% interest, so that comes up to date $880. Then the remainder of the computer was $954.38, comes up to $1,128.86.
Okay. Stop. So, why'd you stop paying her?
Well, I stopped paying her because my daughter owes me money from years back of college expenses and everything, and I was ill at the time.
What do you mean she owes you money?
Well, I got
proof.
Shh. Go ahead.
The whole time that when she went off to college and everything, I paid her rent for her, I bought her groceries, I paid her credit card payments at the time. She was taking her friends out to Hooters and me paying the credit card bills. She would come home.
Please, listen to me. Just remember where you are. Go ahead.
And I bought her bedroom suit. I have the canceled check here. I loaned her furniture. And I said, Layla, I have furniture that I want this back. When she got ready to move, she didn't so much as pick up a phone and say, Mom, come and get your furniture. I want to return it. I offered to pay her off in February. She quit her job. She didn't lose her job.
Well, how come I don't want you to speak to her.
She quit. She wanted to quit her job. She was very unhappy on her job. I sent her $200 a month. I got sick. I called her and told her that, Layla, I'm out of work. I'm sick right now. I will get caught up. If I have to wait till January till I get my money, I did go and buy a house in February, and she came down and visited me and everything, and she said, no, I'd just rather you pay me the payments. But unfortunately, things happened, and I got behind. She refused to speak to me. Her roommate would answer the phone.
What's your defense to this $2,008? I'm still waiting for defense.
Okay, Your Honor, I do have all the canceled checks. I've paid her $854. I gave her $200.
So you say it was more than $500. You say it was more
I paid her $854. There's, and I sent her a breakdown in June of everything I'd paid her, and I put on there, sweetheart, you know, I'll get caught up on this. This is my daughter, Your Honor. I love her. And I cannot believe I'm here today. I mean, you know, I cried
I can't
for
believe
2
you're sitting
days.
here saying that you love me, and you're sitting here lying.
Miss Cameron, don't speak to her.
She's lying.
I cried for 2 days when she did this.
She says she made $800 worth of payments.
And the last one was $54.38.
And one of those checks that she has, I loaned her $100
And I gave
because she had no money. And so $100 of that money needs to be subtracted off because I gave it to her as a loan.
It's on there.
Because she had no money, and she came up to Atlanta for a seminar with her company, and I loaned her $100.
I deducted the $100 off of there.
I'm not denying that she's made some payments to me. I'm not denying that. It's just the point that she got her settlement back in January. She's had plenty of time to pay me back. She got, just like she said, $10,000. She's been working for GE. There's no reason why she couldn't pay me back. And I got my student loans right here. I'll show you where I owe $20,000.
Just a second.
Just
a second. I'm not interested in her story that she paid for your things in college, and she paid for your rent, and she paid for your books, and she paid for everything else. That's what a parent's supposed to do.
But she never did, though.
Just a second. If she did that, that's what she's supposed to do. And if she gave you furniture, that's what she's supposed to do. And if she bought you a couch and a bed when you were there, that's what she was supposed to do.
It wasn't even her furniture.
Shh, hey, that's what she's supposed to do. I'm just trying to figure out how much she still owes you on this computer, because the amount that you gave me for $500 was wrong.
I actually, there's a correction to the amount she owes me. In order to get the discount on the computer that she got, they took money off if she signed up for 3 years at MSN, and I've been paying for it. I got the credit card here where I've been continuously paying for an MSN service, $21.95.
What's MSN?
Online, internet service.
And that was a family plan.
And
she could have access
and if
to
I
use it
cancel
also.
it,
Just a second. It may have been a family plan, madam.
But it was for her benefit, and I use it.
But she didn't have it before.
No, she did not.
So
and I don't have a computer.
Shh.
Sorry.
So she got the computer at a discount. It's like buying a cell phone. We'll sell you this $150 cell phone if you sign up with us for 3 years. So it's the same kind of thing.
And I have changed that, Your Honor, and that comes out of my bank account now.
I can prove it right
she's still paying for it.
No, she's not.
Right here, I got my credit card statement.
She's not
Shows you
anymore.
2 days.
Your Honor, when this
she
was-
must have just did this.
I did. I did it 2 months ago.
No, because I got it proof right here. I can show you.
You don't.
Right here.
You got November payment on
Right
there?
here, October of 2001. It's still on there. So right there, she's lying.
Go ahead.
I changed it, Your Honor, when she served the notice on me, which was October, when they came to
Why
the...
didn't you
She
change
just
it
said
before?
2 months ago. Now she's changing her story.
Hey.
Because I did not have a credit card. They would not... I asked them if they could automatic debit my bank account at the time, and they said no.
And if I cancel a service, they charge me $500 to my credit
All right. Your mother owes you $1,918 because I've given her credit because you said she only paid $500. She paid more than $500 towards the computer. But she owes you for the rest of these things. Your excuse is a pretty lame excuse. If you run out of money, the first thing that you do is you pay your child money. You don't buy a new house.
I didn't, Your Honor.
Yeah, you just told me. You told
I
me you
did.
bought it.
When I started having
you told
problems...
me that you bought a house.
In February, and I offered to pay her off at that time.
Just a minute, you shouldn't have offered to pay her off. You give her a check. You say, here's what I owe you.
Do you think
I'm speaking! Sorry. You don't offer to pay her off. You say, here's the check. I'm
that's
giving
what
you
I
the
should
money
have
that
done.
I
You're
owe
right.
you. But not conjure up in your mind, because I read your answer, and your answer says, which I found interesting, you say, she actually owes you money for all the things you did to her when she was a child.
No, she was not a child. She was over 18 years old.
That's a child. 19 is a child. 20 is a child. They're in college.
That's right, and I did it from my heart because I loved her.
No, you do it because that's what parents do for their children.
Exactly, but the one time her mother needed her in her whole life, and I got ill, she was not there for me. I'm her mother, and I needed help at the time.
You needed help because you had overextended yourself, and you spent your money someplace else.
I had to buy a house, Your Honor. I was living with a friend at the time.
You don't have to buy a house. You can rent an apartment. You don't have to buy a house.
Well, my house payment is lower than an apartment.
That's wonderful, but if you were going to pay her off, I'm going to say it again, then if you had the money, then you write her a check and you say, here, put this in your account. We're now free and clear. I don't owe you anymore. I've paid you my debt. But not to pay your child.
Your Honor.
That you do. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She didn't do a thing for me.
The one time I needed her, she was not there for me.
I was there for her. I helped her out. She had no money.
No, family doesn't do this to each other.
And then for her to sit here and say I was never there for her, never did anything for her, I mean, that hurts.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Cathers versus McKee. Step forward, please.
55-year-old Mary Jo Cathers is suing her ex-boyfriend, 48-year-old electrician Marshall McKee Jr., for a series of unpaid loans. Marshall says Mary Jo never used the word loan until they broke up.
Ms. Cathers, according to your papers, the defendant is a former boyfriend of yours who you've known for a very long time, many years. You claim a series of loans to him recently after you got a settlement from an accident that you were in.
Correct.
Mr. McKee says he accepted money from you, but there were no loans. There was no arrangement to pay you back. These were all gifts given out of friendship and the relationship that you enjoyed. Is that right, sir?
Your Honor, there's nothing in writing.
Doesn't have to be in writing.
And there was no verbal agreements for any payback whatsoever.
Fine, then that's what we're going to find out. When was the first loan and what was it for?
December.
December of 2000.
Yes. Actually, the first loans were for rents, and I've canceled checks.
How much for rent? And tell me under what circumstances you paid his rent.
Him out of work here and there, and I felt sorry for him and loaned him the money. And
Tell me how that happened. Tell me what he said to you, what you said to
Could he
him. Where did
borrow
it
the
take
money
place?
to pay his rent? He needed it. He'd pay me back when he got his job.
And you said to him?
I said I didn't have that much, but I could help him, somewhat.
Okay.
But I needed the money back because I am on a very limited income.
So what did he say to you?
That I would get my money, I would get my money.
And how much was the first check that you gave to him?
Actually, I had one where I paid the landlady myself.
And how much was that?
And that was for $60.
That's not rent. How much was your rent, sir?
My rent on my RV is $60 a week, and she volunteered to go ahead and pay
Don't tell
that
me what
to
she
her.
volunteered. I asked you a simple question. Your simple question was, how much is your rent? $60.
$60 a week.
And in total, how much did you give him towards the rent?
Over a period of a year, $887.
So you were out of work for a long time?
No, ma'am, not that long.
Well, let me see the cancel checks.
Your Honor, due to my business, being an electrician, sometimes when the job ends, I'm temporarily laid off, and she went ahead and volunteered to help.
I have $558 in canceled checks.
Those yellow slips, that was used for rent.
What do you mean that was used for rent?
Those yellow slips, Your Honor, were for pawn shop loans that I had to have to pay my rent. She went ahead and volunteered to just go ahead and pay everything, and naturally the pawn shop's not going to refuse cash, and I kept telling the manager, no, I don't want her to do
So
this.
you pawned stuff to pay your rent?
Yes, ma'am.
And then she got your stuff out of pawn?
That's correct.
So that's rent. What other money did you give him? Because your lawsuit wants $4,068. Tell me.
These are
Don't show me.
attorney's fees.
All right, tell me about the attorney's fees. When?
July 6th, he wanted to talk to his attorney to see if this attorney could help him.
Was it a
And-
criminal matter?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And so he said it was a $75 consultant's fees. Give him that. And then he come back out saying that the man could really, really help him
and he was crying, and he knew I had just gotten the money from my accident, so I wrote a check out for $2,500 in the assumption that he said, I said, I can't afford this, I have to get a refrigerator and things, that he would give me my money back.
There's also a check here in April of 2000.
For rent when we were starting to rekindle things again.
But he never paid you back the money, according to you, that you gave him in April of 2000, right?
No.
So why did you give him thousands of dollars to pay a lawyer and thinking that he was going to pay you back?
He promised to pay it back. I thought we had a relationship going.
He didn't pay you anything back for the April 2000 loan that you gave him. He didn't pay you anything back for the December 2000 loan that you gave him.
Your Honor, can I say something? In 2000, December of 2000, we started cohabitating again, living together again, and cohabitating at her residence in Brevard County.
Excuse me, he has never lived with me.
That's incorrect. That's completely incorrect.
Well, if he was living with you, what were you paying his rent for someplace else?
Thank you.
I still had my RV over in Orange City. I still had to continue lot storage and lot rent on
What were you arrested for, sir, that you needed a lawyer for?
I was arrested for being someplace with some friends that I shouldn't have been.
That's not a crime. I know the penal law pretty well.
Right.
That's not a crime. What were you arrested for?
We were traveling through a neighborhood and got stopped, and we were charged with trying to purchase illicit items.
Okay, so what were you arrested for, sir? There is a name for what you were arrested for.
Solicitation.
Is this the first time you were arrested?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened with the case?
It's pending.
Still pending with the same lawyer?
No, ma'am. That attorney withdrew himself from the case.
Why?
Because he wanted more money. I couldn't come up with it.
And how many court appearances did he make for you?
One.
Well, then you got some money back from him.
No. I had signed a contract, and it was a non-refundable fee.
Let me see the contract.
I don't have that.
I don't believe you.
I can give you the attorney's name.
I don't believe you. I don't believe that a lawyer appears with you in court once, then withdraws from the case, and says, you're out, your retainer.
He did.
Yeah.
You can even ask Mary Jo.
If you don't make an attempt to pay him, I guess the guy's not going to represent you, right?
Well, especially when it's not your money that you gave him as a down payment.
I know.
Well, she just whipped out her checkbook.
Just
and
listen to
wrote
me.
the checks.
Don't tell me she just whipped out her checkbook. If you're speaking to the lawyer, you're not an idiot, are you?
Oh, no, ma'am.
Good. If you're not an idiot, then you say, how much is this going to cost me? It's my first arrest. It's an arrest for solicitation. How much is your entire fee going to be? Isn't that what you asked him?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did he say?
$4,000.
He appeared with you once.
He didn't appear with me, but he appeared in court.
He appeared in court once. Yes, not even with you. $2,500. So all you had to do was come up with another $1,500. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you knew you had to come up with another $1,500. Even if I believe your story that he didn't give you back any money, which I'm not sure I believe. So why would you sign a retainer agreement with him for $4,000 if you didn't have the other 15?
Well, at the time, I was changing electrical jobs again.
This was in July?
Last of July, yes, ma'am.
All right. So can you explain to me why, sir, you still needed money to help pay your rent?
Well, the rent meter keeps running.
Why didn't you pay your own rent?
I was during the time.
During what time? Not in July, you weren't.
Oh, I was collecting unemployment at that time.
You just told me you were working.
Well, I was collecting unemployment prior...
And working.
No, prior to gaining employment again.
Miss Cathers.
Yes, ma'am.
Part of your money is stupidity.
Yes, ma'am.
All right? You're not going to get any money for the rent you paid to him because that comes under the category of dumb. Because
dumb love?
No, just dumb. Dumb. You don't have any money, I'll give you money for rent. But the part that I'm more interested in is this big chunk of money that you gave to him, $2,500. $2,500, I believe he took advantage of you. And I also believe that he got some money back from the lawyer. Because I don't know of any reputable attorney who got more than 50% of his full retainer and then would withdraw from the case after making one court appearance without even the defendant being present.
You can call him, Your Honor.
I don't want to call him. And if you didn't get any money back from him, you should have sued him. And you don't even have your retainer agreement to show me. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. That's all.
Các em thân mến, chào mừng các em đến với video mới ngày hôm nay nhé. Ở video mới này thì cô cho chúng ta sẽ ôn lại phần phép tính của hỗn số. Và đây các em thấy là trong biểu thức này chúng ta cần phải tìm giá trị của M. Giá trị của M Đấy là m chia cho 3 1/5 trừ 3/4 và bằng một hỗn số là 2 1/4. Ở trong bài toán này nó tồn tại phép nhân, phép chia, vì thế chúng ta sẽ đổi thành các phân số để chúng ta tính toán nhé. Và đầu tiên chúng ta sẽ xác định thành phần của biểu thức này. Ở đây chúng ta thấy là cái phần này, ở đây chính là số bị trừ, đây là số trừ, và đây là hiệu. Vậy thì từ biểu thức này chúng ta sẽ viết được ra một biểu thức mới, đó chính là m chia cho 3 1/5. Chúng ta sẽ tính ra thành phân số rồi nhé. 3 x 5 15 nó thành 16/5 sẽ bằng, đây là phần hiệu là 2 nhân 1 là 8 là 9/4 cộng cho số trừ sẽ là 3/4 và đây sẽ bằng 12/4, đúng không ạ? Và bằng 3. Vậy thì ở đây sẽ có là m chia cho, ở đây chúng ta viết nguyên lại đi đâu đi, tại vì là ở đây 3 đó thì chúng ta sẽ không xóa đây nữa, chúng ta sẽ để ở đây chúng ta đổi thành hỗn số cũng được, tại vì đối với phép chia chúng ta bắt buộc ở đây m sẽ bằng 3 nhân cho 3 1/5 sẽ bằng 3 nhân cho 16/5, m sẽ bằng 48/5. 48/5 ở đây chúng ta sẽ chia ra là được 9, đúng không ạ? 9 5 45, 45 ở đây 48 nó còn 3 nữa. Vậy thì ở cái phần này chúng ta nhân lên thì chúng ta sẽ được 3 nhân 3 là 9, 3 nhân 1/5 là thành 3/5. Kết quả là 3 9/5 các em nhé. Đây là cần tìm m của chúng ta sẽ là 3 sẽ là 3/5. Đối với bài toán này thì cốt yếu là chúng ta phải xác định được từng cái thành phần của biểu thức, sau đấy chúng ta sẽ tìm thành phần nào còn thiếu chúng ta sẽ tìm, và khi mà chúng ta tìm được rồi thì chúng ta sẽ xác định cái thành phần mới ở đây, thì đây sẽ là số bị chia. Vậy thì số bị chia sẽ bằng thường nhân với số chia.